all 18 teams set to join us over the next several hours here on the Big Ten Women's Basketball Media Day special. And leading things off, Coquese, Washington, and the Scarlet Knights. Rutgers made their first postseason since 2021, and this year's team is going to look very different. 8 newcomers to help replace the top 6 scorers from last season. We'll chat with 2 of those new faces in a moment, but for now, the head coach joins us, Coquese, Washington. Great to see you, and props for being brave enough to bat leadoff.
Thank you.
Welcome to Media Day. I know there's so much to talk about. You've got 4 new assistants. You got a lot of new faces. So big picture coming in. How are you feeling about the squad and how everything's starting to come together?
Feeling great about the squad, feeling great about how things are coming together. It's just been so much fun being in the gym with these coaches and with these players. And so I'm excited about the season and what we can do.
With so many new players, how have you kind of handled who's going to take the leadership role? How, learning, everybody's learning so many new things. How have you done that?
Well, the thing is we've started about discovering who can do what and not being in a rush to put people in spots and roles, but naturally seeing who leads, naturally seeing what they do. And that's been the fun part this summer, is just discovering who we are and what we can do and then putting it all together.
And I always like to say there's some coaches that have a system, and no matter what players they have, they put those players in that system. Or there's coaches who say, I'm going to look at the strength of my team, and I'm going to build this year what's going to be. What's your philosophy on that?
Probably the latter. You want to make sure that everybody is in positions where they can do what they do well and what they can do what they're strong at. And when you bring in 8 new players, it takes some time to figure out in this environment different roles. How are you going to respond? And so we're going to be patient to let that come together so that we get the best out of every single player on our team.
And, Coach, it's not just 8 new players, but you've got 4 new assistants. So there's a new dynamic within your coaching staff as well. Shannon LaBeouf, longtime assistant at UCLA, known to be such a great recruiter and developer of talent.
That might have been your biggest recruiter of the season.
I mean, phenomenal
Yes.
hire. What has she brought early on?
Well,
so
she's
far?
brought a tremendous amount of knowledge. For one thing, she's a mentor. She's a servant leader, and she has built great relationships with our players right out the gate. And I think those relationships that she has, as well as the other new assistant coaches, but those relationships that she has will allow the players' talents to shine through.
So after looking at your roster, what do you think is a strength?
I think our strength is our depth. We have 13 players on our roster now, which, every year, we've been able to get more and more players. And to have 13 players and have the depth that we have this year, I think that's going to be something that's really going to be big for us.
You have been such a champion for this game. You were the very first president of the PA for the WNBA not all that many years ago. Obviously, the league is in a transition point right now. So I'd just love to get your thoughts on how far the game has come and sort of where you think it's going next from the position that you've been in. It's
been amazing to watch the growth of our game over the last few years, especially since the WNBA started and kicked off. I think the presence of the league, the professional league in this country, has really impacted grassroots basketball. More young girls are wanting to be pros, and so they're putting the work and the effort into that. And then when you look at where we are and where the collective bargaining agreement is about to be for women's sports and where we are in terms of getting units in college women's basketball, I think we're on the precipice of another big jump. And, while I've never heard of or been a part of easygoing collective bargaining agreement negotiations, like that never happens. But at the end of the day, I think, the players and management will get on the same page about finding a path forward where women's basketball can continue to thrive.
And I just love for you, you're a lawyer, you're a coach, you're a player, you're the president of the Players Association, as Ashley meant, as a role model for young women. I mean, it's incredible what you've been able to do in your career, and you're so young. You're still just a little puppy, Coach. What do you take the most pride in, and personally, what you've been able to accomplish in the game of women's basketball?
I think, when you look back, you never think when you're in the middle of things like that this is going to be monumental or this is going to be impactful. You're just kind of doing what needs to be done at that moment. But to kind of look back and see how far the game has grown, to look back and see where professional basketball is, to look at where college sports is and how we're impacting so many young women to lead lives of significance and impact. That's the part that you kind of go, man, all the work that we've done matters and is important, and we have just to continue to keep doing that as we move forward.
Well, and the best part, I think, of all that, you didn't mention that you threw the first behind-the-back pass to Shimmy Miller.
Yes.
That's really what you've been known
morning.
for, Coach. As I heard back in the day in Michigan, you were throwing dimes to Shimmy.
Shimmy was a baller.
She said she didn't catch the
She
first
tells
pass
us
that
all
you-
the
that you
time.
said.
Trust
Yeah.
me, we've heard all about it from Shimmy.
Coach Washington, thank you so much. Great to
Thank
spend
you.
some time with you. Best of luck this year. We appreciate the time and looking forward to watching this Rutgers squad as we take a look at some of the notable games on the schedule, including a trip to SEC country next month to face Auburn, Iowa on deck in the Big Ten opener at home, and some tough conference road trips to Columbus, Los Angeles, Bloomington. For more on the Scarlet Knights, let's kick it over to Mike and Shimmy with a couple of the team's newest additions, guys.
Very good. We've got two of the Scarlet Knight players with us here, Ashley. Kaylah Ivey, a senior who transferred after 4 years at BC, and Imani Lester transferred after 2 years at Kansas State. So you're both new to this program. You're new to the Big Ten. Welcome. Give me your early impressions of your new coach, your new teammates, your new college town.
So far, it's been an amazing adjustment. Love my teammates, love my new coaching staff. We pretty much gelled and clicked very quickly, honestly. It kind of shocked me. But off the court, our connection has grown so much since summer, and it's continuing to grow every day.
I'm pretty excited about our team. I think that, like she said, we gel and connect well together, almost immediate. And I think that all of our talents and skills complement each other really well, and I think we're going to do really good this year.
You guys said you gelled pretty quickly. How's that happen? That doesn't normally happen, especially with so many new people.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, we just try to hang out with each other a lot off the court, pretty much almost every day, and just understanding what each other likes, doing different things just to bond better. And I think that kind of helped us become closer off the court and also on the court.
Yeah, I think we're just figuring each other out, and like she said, we like to hang out, and it's not forced, and every time that we get together, it's fun, and it's relaxed, and we just gel really well together.
Kaylah, you're a point guard, and you know your head coach was a great point guard. So this is the first time in Coquese's tenure that she's had a true point guard. What's that like playing for someone who also played that position?
No, so far it's been amazing. I'm trying to kind of like pick her brain to understand what exactly she wants me to do and how to run the offense. She gives me pointers all the time, things that she used growing up in her playing style when she played in the league as well. So it's been great trying to connect with her in that aspect. We watch a lot of film together just so that I can understand where she's coming from. She can understand where I'm coming from, what I see on the court. So far it's been pretty good.
Give me an example, each of you, of a teammate that has impressed you early on this year.
I'd say Zakara Perkins. She's going to be a sophomore this year, but I think her experience as a freshman is going to do wonders for us. She is the type of player to get after it every single day in practice, and I know she's going to do that in the game, and she kind of gives us a fieriness to us, and I really love seeing her.
I'm going to say all my teammates, honestly, from 1 to 13. We put so much work in the off season. Everybody get into the gym, put in a huge amount of time into their game, and I'm just excited to see exactly what everyone can do.
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe a Coquese Washington practice?
Ooh, you know she's sitting right over there.
We get out a lot and run. We're in transition. We put up a lot of shots. We are intense, but we also learn. So a lot of our practices are learning practices. We're getting to know each other. So it's a learning experience, and at the same time, we're just having fun every day.
Yeah.
I watch the social media videos. You guys have a great account, by the way, your social media account. And your coaches, you have 4 new coaches on your staff, and they seem really fun. But everyone, even Mike seems really fun on social media. Are your are those coaches as cool and fun as you guys make them out to be?
They definitely are. With 4 new coaches, 4 new personalities, along with 8 new players, like the personalities, we blend very well. The coaching staff, they're going to push us on the court, but also have fun with us off the court and actually get to know us, and bond as well off the court. So it's great people to be around.
Yep.
Imani, Kaylah, thanks for your time. Have fun the rest of the day. Good luck this season, your
Thank
first
you.
one
Thank you so much.
Thank
on
you.
the banks.
Rolling along here at Big Ten Basketball Media Days, Ohio State once again entering the season among the Big Ten favorites. Kevin McGuff's team coming off their 4th straight NCAA tournament appearance, 2 of his top 3 scorers return. Jaloni Cambridge and Chance Gray, who are both here today repping the Buckeyes at Media Day. We'll visit with them in a moment. Ashley Adams and Elise Woodward, and the head coach of Ohio State, Kevin McGuff, joining us here on set, entering year 13 in Columbus, Coach. So great to see you, first and foremost. I know every offseason is different, and obviously as you're trying to rebuild your team every year, there's something different. So let's start there before we get into the specifics of what this thing looks like. For you, what's the process when you're trying to figure out the chemistry and the connection amongst new pieces?
Well, I think you said it. That's the most important thing, is the chemistry and the connection. And I think it's always been the case, but I think even more so nowadays with the young women that we get a chance to coach. They want to be a part of a team that they like each other and they enjoy being around each other. And so, as we kind of went into this process this year, we made sure that the young people that we brought in could really be a great fit in our program. I think we've done that, so I really like this group.
Coach, I love your style, that it's unique. You overwhelm people with pressure and speed, and you make people uncomfortable. And Jaloni Cambridge at the top of that.
Yeah.
But let's just start overall with that pressure. How do you you must recruit to that, but then implement that? Is a unique style in 2025 to have that backcourt pressure, full court pressure. But how has it paid dividends for you?
Yeah, no, it's been a big part of our program here since my tenure at Ohio State, and it's just a big part of our identity. And we recruit to it. I think players come here to be a part of that system and that style, and we've been successful with it. I think this year's team will be another team that hopefully can implement that and have great success.
Do you think, is there ever a point in a game where you're like, yep, all right, turn it up? And for your players, is it hard to hold them back, kind of like a horse at the starting line, like, all right, we're not going to press for 40, but how do you handle that?
Well, I think the hardest part is sometimes if you get off to a slow start or the other team has success early on, is just kind of envisioning that point where it's kind of break in your favor and your pressure is going to wear on the other team to where they will start to wear down, make mistakes, and you can capitalize on those.
You mentioned Jaloni Cambridge, and she's here with you today, Big Ten Freshman of the Year a season ago. And a lot of times when people come on freshman year, you don't know exactly how their game is going to translate to the next level. Obviously, it did for her. Where do you see her taking the next step? Because people obviously are going to be she's going to be at the top of most scouting reports.
Yeah, no, she's a wonderful young woman. We're really happy to have her in the program, and she's one of the fastest players that I've had a chance to coach, where the ball actually comes with her. She's so quick up and down the court. And, I thought she had a dynamic freshman year. But where I think you're going to see her improve are really two areas. One, continue to evolve to make everybody around her better, because she draws so much attention. And I think you're going to see people get great shots because of her dribble penetration and making the appropriate passes. The next part, I think, is her leadership. She's got a high basketball IQ. She's a great kid. People really like her. So I think she's going to take a big jump and a big step in that regard.
You guys have been to 4 NCAA tournaments in a row, 4 straight seasons of 25 wins, and Jaloni's a year better. For you in this year, you've seen it in the non-con. You've been doing this a long time, Coach. We're all old.
Yeah, we are.
But the point is that you have the experience. How does this team stack up in what areas that it gives you the hope that you guys can make another deep run in the NCAA tournament?
I think we're going to be a little bit different this year. I think in most years we've been one of the more athletic teams in the league. I don't know that we'll be one of the more athletic teams, but I think we've improved our skill set, and I think hopefully if things go right, we will shoot the ball better from the three-point line. I think our spacing will improve, and we'll look like a little bit more of a skilled team than an athletic team.
Well, and I think Chance Gray, she's one of the best shooters in the nation.
Yep.
In practice and what you've seen from her, just sweet stroke. Her and anybody else that jumped out to you as just being great shooters that can fill it up for you.
Yeah, Chance can really score from the three-point line, and she's proven that. She's had a great summer really working on finishing around the basket, because I do think people are going to try to chase her off the three-point line. She knows that, so she's been very intentional about the work to get better finishing around the rim. So I think she's gonna be a big part of our success this year. And we've got a really exciting young center on our team, Elsa Limala, who's from Finland. She grew up in Helsinki, and she's 6'5" and a great athlete and a great skill set. And I think she has a chance to make a really big jump this year.
Yeah, I love that. She's so athletic for a big.
Well, and you're not going to have to wait all that long to see what this team is really made of. I think it's game number 3.
Yeah.
You travel to Hartford to take on the defending national champs from UConn. Obviously, a great challenge, a big challenge. But what do you hope to know? How ready do you think the squad is going to be for those early season games?
Yeah, we're going to, as you mentioned, we're going to find out. So they obviously had an incredible season last year once again, then had a great offseason and added some tremendous players out of the portal. So, they'll be incredible again. But, we want to challenge ourselves against the best and see where we need to be that time of year, because the only way to get ready for the Big Ten is to play people like Connecticut.
Well, that's what with 12 teams making the NCAA tournament a year ago, and then you add another team that is perennial, one of the best in the nation year after year in UConn. As a scheduler, how have you now, with 18 teams that are so solid in the Big Ten, how have you balanced that with scheduling in the non-con?
It's tough. I mean, we still want to play, marquee matchups in the non-conference. And really, the UConn game is a great example of, there's a lot of like one-off kind of neutral site games nowadays, which are great games. And we have one this year versus TCU in the Coretta Skiing Classic. So that's going to be a great game for us. But we also want to bring great teams to the shot in the non-conference. And so that was part of like playing UConn. We're going to go there this year. They're going to come back the following year. So we want to continue to do that for our fans.
That's great.
And we know your fans are excited to see you guys. We're excited to see you this year. Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
And best of luck as we take a look at that schedule. We mentioned a couple of those games early on against UConn in Hartford, and then on Martin Luther King Day, a chance to play in the Coretta Scott King Classic against TCU, a team that went to the Elite Eight a year ago, and some big-time home games in conference, UCLA, Maryland, USC, and Michigan. It's going to be fun to see how it all plays out. Mike and Christy are with the players, guys.
Ashley, thanks. We got 2 good ones here, Chance Gray and Jaloni Cambridge. You were just talking about them. Good to have you both here. I want to ask you guys a couple of questions. Just real quick, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you've hit 9 3-pointers in a game in college in your career. Sorry, can we raise that a little higher? I couldn't tell who.
Yeah.
What was going on in that game last year?
It was crazy because I had a dream that night before that I was going to have like a really good game. I wasn't expecting 9 3-pointers in a game, but it happened. So
Look at that.
Well done. All right, I have another one. Raise your hand if your first ever college game you scored more than 30 points. Oh, really? Did you have a dream the night before?
I did not. I don't even know what happened. I was just out there being in the moment, and that just happened, honestly. I can't even tell you. I had some good pasta the night before, I'll say that.
That's the key. Get a good pasta and a good dream. You're going to play good ball for OSU.
So if I have pasta, then that means I'll have a good broadcast the next day then, right?
For sure.
I know that family is very important to both of you guys. You actually started a foundation with your family, with your sisters. Tell us about that.
yeah, so me and my sister, I'm a co-founder with her for our nonprofit organization, Where to Next. It's just about my sister and her story. She suffered a brain aneurysm back in the late 2000s, and just was about giving her a second chance at life, and we were able to give back to a lot of kids in our community, whether that's camps, back to school drives, Christmas drives, things like that. So.
Okay, awesome. And you're one of 9?
7.
One of 7.
Yeah.
One of 7. That's still a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Your siblings play Legos with you?
No, my sister actually does not enjoy Legos, but as far as being in the community, we host camps, every year. We try to do 2 a year, one in Columbus and one in Nashville, where home is. And just giving back to the community, like Chance said, because, at the end of the day, our community is what got us to where we are, so we always have to give back. It's the best thing a player could do.
I like where Shimmy was going there. Tell it, you do have a fascination with Legos, no?
I do. Kind of obsessed. Might be a problem.
Explain.
I've been doing it ever since I was a kid. Being one of 7, you get hand-me-downs, because who's going to be buying Legos? They're expensive. Who's going to be buying that over and over? So I've been, hand-me-downs playing. My oldest brother, he played with it first, and me and my little brother play with it all the time. You know how you play house?
Sure.
We did it with the Legos. And now that I can afford my own Legos, I get them all the time. I have a Lego collection in my room and my second bedroom in my house.
So how often are we starting a new project?
As of lately, I haven't been really on it, but that's okay.
You got time.
We're going to start that when the season starts, so I have something to lean back on basketball. But, I'd have to be doing it at least 4 times a week.
Really? A brand new
one.
box coming
Whether
out.
it's big or small.
Does Chance relate? Does she
No.
have any Lego game?
No, I'm not a Lego girl.
not not in this. No way. But you guys are really small this year. No pun intended. I'm not making a comparison to you guys and the Lego pieces. I promise. No true center. Even you're going to have to rely even more on this backcourt. Is this style of play going to be different and probably more suited for you two, right?
Yeah, I'm excited. We're going to have to be a lot grittier. Defense is definitely going to be our focus. If we don't play defense, there's no way we can win games. I think that'll offset our offense, be able to get us going on that end. So I'm just very excited to be able to play together as a team, implement all the factors that we've added this season, and get going.
Yeah, our strength coach emphasizes all the time that we're going to be the fastest team in the country. So we emphasize that in every drill we do. We're not sprinting. I mean, we're sprinting. We're not walking. So we want to be able to play fast all the time. Even when it's hard, we sprint all the time. That's all we do in practice is run. Sometimes with basketball, sometimes without.
Jaloni, you came in with a lot of hype, and you made, as I mentioned, a pretty quick impact. Take me back to this time last year. What was something that you felt you got right away about playing college basketball? And also something that you're like, I actually couldn't pick this up until later on in the year.
The pace. I mean, it's fast. I'm fast too, but, I fit in right with the pace. The physicality was something that I'm still getting used to now because, I'm undersized. I'm an undersized guard. But at the end of the day, I'm going to use my speed to be able to, get away from that.
And what was something that you found, Chance, coming into a program that was brand new to you, that maybe took you a while to get, but then you figured out and you're like, oh, I know what we're doing now?
Yeah, definitely, again, the pace. Like, college basketball is fast, but Ohio State basketball is even faster. Up and down, definitely had to get my conditioning in shape because we're pressing so much, we're up so much the whole game back and forth, especially running with Lana. I got to keep up with her. So that was something that took me getting used to, but I love it now, and I'm just feel more comfortable in our style of play this year.
Shimmy, you ever wear a leg sleeve?
No, that was not a thing when I played.
Have you, Chance?
Yes,
Is
I
it
did.
back this year?
It's not back this year. It's not making a return this year.
Is this breaking news?
New number, new style, so I'm back.
Starting
fresh. New year, new me.
Looking forward to seeing
Yes.
it. Jaloni, Chance, thanks so much for your time. Have a great season this year.
Thank you.
Big Ten Women's Basketball Media Day rolling along from Rosemont as we take a closer look at Penn State. Gracie Merkle back holding it down inside. Kiyomi McMiller, who Big Ten fans know, brings a lot of scoring to the fold, averaged nearly 19 points a game last year at Rutgers. And Carolyn Kieger entering year 7 at the helm as our live coverage continues here on the desk. Ashley Adamson, Elise Woodward with you. And Coach, as I was looking up your team and getting to know you guys, getting ready for this, I saw 2 things that stood out to me: lion mentality and fuel the joy. 2 amazing themes because it's ferocious joyfulness, which is what I usually talk about Elise Woodward. She's ferociously joyful. Tell me about those themes and kind of how you pick them and what it means to this group.
Yeah, well, obviously being the Lady Lions, lion mentality fits really well. And what we say is lion mentality is the constant hunt to live with pride and attack everything at 100%. We want to be fearless, we want to be hunters, and we want to attack, but we want to do it together. We want to do it for the woman to the left and to the right of us.
I always say the recipe for a good basketball team, you better have a good center and you better have a good guard. And you have that. Gracie Merkle last year, 67% field goal percentage in Big Ten play. That's incredible. And now you add a point guard that is electric in Kiyomi McMiller. How have those 2 worked together? And as a baseline for your team, how can you take advantage of that?
I'm really excited for both of them to play together. Obviously, they've built their chemistry this offseason, working together, and just having that camaraderie is going to help. I mean, obviously, Gracie Merkle is one of the most efficient post players in the country, if not the most efficient. Her hands are phenomenal, her footwork, and then to play with a point guard like Kiyomi, who has the best ball skills I've seen. Kiyomi obviously has phenomenal handle, but she's an elite passer. And I think the 2 of them are going to be an excellent 1-2 punch. And you sprinkle the other weapons we have on the perimeter and inside. And we're really excited for fans to see Penn State back on the map.
Kiyomi is a player that you can ISO. She can get you a bucket anytime. She's just a walking bucket. So offensively, what have you changed, or what do you do to be able to not rely on that and not have other players standing around, but like how have you have to change when you add a player like that, don't you?
Yeah, well, she's so dynamic, right? And you want the ball in her hands. You want her to have her creativity. You want her to play free. But also you want the others to space the floor. We have a lot of great shooters. That's going to be fantastic for Kiyomi to have more gaps to work with, and obviously then you have Gracie Merkle with post up ISOs down low. Kiyomi is like the prototype for our system. I've coached a lot of elite guards, and Kiyomi's up there with the best of the best. And I'm not just talking right here in college basketball. I think she has potential to be one of the best guards to ever play the game, and I'm going to be really excited to work with that creativity and help shape her game, and help her become the complete player that I know she can be, and that she can lead us to the next stage.
I think about your ability to coach more. College sports has changed so much. There is so much that is on the plate for a head coach. And you went and hired the first GM of the program, Jason Crafton. Tell me about, he's got so much different, interesting experience. What has he brought that's allowed you to do what you love, which is coach?
That's a phenomenal question. Obviously, Jason has succeeded at the highest level. He's been a head coach. He sat in my seat, so he's been able to take a lot off my plate, so I can spend more time developing relationships with the players and, getting out in the community more. But Jason is a vet, and he knows what it's like to be in all assets of the program, in all facets, and he's been phenomenal for our defense already. We have a new defense you'll see this year. It's called TNT, tough, tenacious, and tough, nasty, and tenacious. And but not only that, he's just brought another level of intensity. He's very passionate. He loves the game of basketball, and I think our community's already fell in love with him. So no doubt a home run hire, and I'm ecstatic for him to be on the sidelines with me.
I think for you guys, too, with this when you look at the way that it has evolved in college basketball, what is it that you love to do? What keeps you motivated in this landscape where it's just a different beast than it was 10, 15 years ago? What is it that you love that gives you that real joy in college basketball now?
Yeah, my favorite part is player development. It always has, it always will be. That's why I coach. I coach so young women can fulfill their dreams, and I can help them be the best versions of themselves. And 360-degree view, not just on the court, right? Helping them with their systems, with their processes, their goals, and how to attack them, and how to set your sights on something and work through failure and understand what work ethic looks like. And life is hard. The journey is going to be hard, and how to keep that next play mentality while you're still fighting for something bigger than yourself.
There is so much that the game of basketball teaches you, obviously, about life, to your point. And I think, you said it when you sat down, there's a lot of international experience on your roster as well. What does that dynamic bring?
Well, I love that the game is global. And I think it's so important for, our American, student athletes to get that experience playing with international players. And then twofold, for the internationals to come here and get an elite education, but play with a different brand of basketball, different style of training. I absolutely love the synergy our team has right now. And the internationals are a breath of fresh air. And, absolutely love teaching them and showing them what the culture looks like here in Happy Valley and helping their game flourish.
And I would just say Happy Valley is a unique place. It is a special place. We were talking about the whiteout for football, but the international kids, they come over and they're coming to a unique place where but while you're a Nittany Lion and certainly after, connected for life, it's an amazing thing about Penn State. How do you explain that to people that don't know?
Well, we have the largest living alumni network in the world. Right? So when you talk about life after basketball, because obviously the ball's going to stop bouncing at some point, so how do we set them up for life after sport? And introducing them to different people that can help them, whether it's figuring out who they are, figuring out what career path they want to follow, job placement, career advancement. We're able to tap into a network that runs very deep. And anywhere you go, not only in America, but on the planet, you'll hear, we are.
Nittany Lions everywhere. Coach, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it.
Best of luck this year.
Enjoy this season. Looking forward to watching the Nittany Lions as we take a quick look at some of the notable games coming up. And, of course, there's a lot of them. How about December 14th at South Carolina? That one jumps out. Hosting UCLA on New Year's Eve. At Ohio State, Maryland, and Indiana, all part of the gauntlet that is Big Ten Conference play in 2025. Let's head over to Mike and Christy, who are with the players, guys.
Well, it's two players, Ashley, you guys were just talking about. Gracie Merkle, the sophomore, the junior, and Kiyomi McMiller, the sophomore, transferring over from Rutgers. Thank you both for being here. Let me start with this. Gracie, Media Day is a great opportunity where you can address something that happened in the summer, give the full recap, and then you can kind of move on with the season, right? So explain what happened from your perspective, entering the portal, announcing where you're going, and then coming back to Penn State.
Yeah, well, I want to give credit to Maryland and their opportunities they gave me. But, at the end of the day, Penn State's home. Penn State's where I wanted to be. I wanted to play like players like Kiyomi over here. I believe in Coach Kiegs, what we're building here at Penn State. I want to put Penn State back on the map, back top 5. You go win national championships with this group.
Well, Kiyomi, I remember you as an 8th grader because you played AAU basketball with my daughter with GTS Fusion. But listen, you were dropping bodies as an 8th grader. Your skill set fits so many systems, but to hear Coach Kieger say that you are a prototypical guard for what she wants done in her program, what does that make you feel like?
It makes me feel good knowing that we want to play fast, we want to get up and down the floor. It really does mean a lot, and I'm just really excited to be able to play with Gracie and Mo and all my other teammates.
And what is that dynamic like? Because you averaged almost 19 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. When you're looking at those numbers, how is it that balance that you have between being a scorer and a facilitator?
I think the balance will work out really well, just knowing, like, I have other people on the court that can score with me, and, like, it's going to be a high-scoring game and entertaining to watch, so it's just got to come and watch us play.
Yeah, I'm going to drop my mic a lot of times, I'm telling you, because I did
It's
even
impressive.
when I was sitting and watching.
It's really fun to watch. Give me an example, last year, your first year in college, on the court, off the court, something you learned from your first year playing college ball.
Really, it's the same as playing in high school. I'm sorry. It's the same as playing in high school. Like, really, you see most of the same people, and it's the same game. The only difference might be like a little bit faster for some people, but that's really it.
And Gracie, you led the Big Ten Conference shooting 67% from the floor, which is absolutely phenomenal. But drawing the best defenders from opponents, what kind of challenge did that pose last year? And what are you anticipating in that regard this upcoming season?
Yeah, well, you know, Big Ten Conference is the best conference in America for post players. And we have a lot of post players here, a lot of great post players, you know, but going out there every night to be able to play against those amazing post players, you know, it's great.
Last year was such a big step up for you, and you just mentioned the competition you were going against was really good. So how do you explain the success you had last year?
Yeah, I've always wanted to play against the best players in the world, you know, and I just go out there every practice, every game, work as hard as I can, listen to the coaches, because I know at the end of the day they want to put me to the WNBA, the overseas, or wherever else I want to go. So, you know, just taking what I can.
Was there a specific area of your game that you felt like, oh, this got better for me, or I worked extra hard at this and that's why I was so successful?
I just work at everything. I think being a little bit more physical was definitely a key, but I mean, this summer we're working on my mid-range jumper, so we're going to see if that, you know.
I love that. Now, dynamic duo is something that's kind of very bland, but I want to know from you all, what do you all want to be called? I mean, you guys are going to be paired up and matched up and 2-player actions and all that. Any names come to mind yet? There it is. Oh, you don't even it. There it is. Hashtag it. Somebody, stamp that.
You, one of the things you do really well is the three-point shot, Kiyomi, but some of your threes are a mile behind the line. What does your current head coach say about the depth she's comfortable with you taking a deep three?
She definitely is. Like, Coach Keys doesn't like to put any of us in a box. He wants us to embrace ourselves and how we play. And just knowing that I have that freedom really means a lot.
Last one for you, Kiyomi. When you get double-teamed this year, what are you going to do differently than last year when you got double-teamed? What's something you learned in that regard?
Something I learned. Well, I'm not going to be the only one that's going to be double-teamed. So if I get double-teamed, pass it down to Merk, pass it down to Mo, it's going to be a bucket either way.
I like it. Kiyomi, Gracie, thanks so much for your time.
Thank
Have
you
a
so
great
much.
year this year.
Coming off their 4th Sweet 16 in the last 5 years, and the Terps have to replace Cheyenne Sellers, who's now in the WNBA, but they returned Kaylene Smikle, nearly 18 points a game last year, and Brenda Frese brought in 2 of the most coveted players in the portal, Yarden Garzon from Indiana and Oluchi Akanawa from Duke. She's sitting on 607 wins at Maryland, and Brenda Frese joining us now on set. Coach, it's great to see you, and Shimmy did say it's not going to be UCLA, it's going to be Maryland, so she put the bullseye right on your back.
Come on, Shimmy.
She should know better than that.
I love her. I love her.
No. Well, and there's a reason why to love this team, because there are so many great pieces that you bring back and so many great pieces, as we just mentioned, that you bring in. You've been doing this at such a high level for so long, and I'm just curious, your process in the offseason to figure out exactly what you have and then how to make it all work.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to have a great staff, and it starts there. And you have to be able to understand what your roster, what you have, what you need, and then it's got to break the right way. So for us, to be able to secure when Yarden went into the portal, as well as Alucci, those were two areas that we needed: the three-point shooting, someone who understood the league, like Yarden being here for 3 years, and then Alucci, a dynamic backcourt, athletic, full, be able to pick up full court, a ton of energy on both sides of the ball. So two phenomenal additions to go with the experience that we already had off of the Sweet 16 roster.
Yeah, Yarden leaves Indiana as their all-time three-point shooter. What does that do for you as you adjust your offense to have a player that's 6'3" that can light it up and create mismatches?
It just opens up your spacing and your court, and to be able to have a shooter you can't help off of her. The thing I've been most impressed with Yarden is not only her three-point shooting, which we knew we were going to get, is her passing. Her IQ is 2 to 3 passes ahead. I mean, she just really knows how to make other people better. So, and just that, she's an ultimate competitor and winner.
I think the thing that's interesting about her story is that she's from Israel. And there's so much going on in the world right now. How have you guys helped her? Has she needed any help just navigating? It was such a difficult time for her country.
I think we're really fortunate. Shea Duran was one of our first players here. They know each other. And so, I have a complete understanding from my dynamic with Shea. I mean, she's someone I stay in touch with daily. But, yeah, it's a lot. You're navigating a lot. And to be so young, and over here and understand what's going on in your country. But for us, it's just being as supportive as we can for her every single day.
Well, I think, and it's a good reminder of the larger point, which is, your job as a head coach is to figure out how the pieces all come together. But there is so much more that is going on when you're talking about the lives of young women and everything that they're dealing with away from basketball. The other player that you brought here today is Kaylene Smikle, part of the, all Big Ten preseason pick by the coaches. When you think about her journey and where she is right now and the next step for her, what stands out?
Well, we already knew when we brought her in last year, a 3-level scorer, and just how dynamic she was. And we've really challenged her in the other areas of her game. She wants to play at the next level and do it for a long time. So, adding that dimension to be a high-level defender for us, being able to, understand the game from, assist to turnover ratio and make others around you better as well when you're so elite. And those are all areas I've loved. Like any weakness she has, she wants it to be a strength. And so she continues to just show us each and every day how hard she wants to work to become better.
I love the way she attacks the glass. She was one of the most fouled players, and it's a skill set to be able to draw fouls, put the other team in foul trouble, get to the line, all those things. Do you see that in practice as well? Because that's a skill that some people reserve for the game to take those hits.
No question. They were joking what kind of player I was, and I literally had said earlier, I was like, I wasn't going downhill like you. I just spotted up around the three-point line. Like, she goes and takes that contact, and like I said, a 3-level score, so how do you stop her? But she really does absorb that contact and is able to finish through it.
You guys led the Big Ten in scoring last year, over 80 points per game, and yet there's a part of me that thinks she may be even more explosive this year. Do you find that as well?
I kind of forgot that as you've mentioned that. I'm like, really? I do. Yes, we have a lot more scoring pieces. I think the thing I'm most excited about is I think we're going to be able to do a lot more defensively. We didn't have that with the injuries last year, so I thought that slowed us in some areas. So we're going to be able to pick up full court again. We're going to be able to have a lot of different wrinkles on the defensive end, and yeah, it should be a really great up-tempo team that's going to be able to score a lot of points.
And I want to get your thoughts on some of the players that you've developed from Maryland to some of the best in the WNBA right now. Alyssa Thomas is an absolute beast, and I love her. I know they're down 2-0 in the WNBA finals right now. She's playing for Phoenix, but there's so many great Maryland Terrapins in the WNBA that you have got there. How much pride do you take in being able to sit there and kick back and watch your players?
There's so much pride, and don't count AT out. I think the cool thing on that roster, you got Alyssa Thomas, and then you have Christy Tolliver on the bench coaching her, and two probably of the most elite players that played at Maryland. So it's awesome. You get to sit back and you watch all these games, and every game I turn on, there's a Terp. And so it is really a proud moment to be able to see them living out and achieving their dreams.
Well, and to that that point, when you think about all of the lives that you have influenced over the many years you've been doing this, Laura Harper, one of, I know who's someone near and dear to your heart, the MVP of that 06 national championship team. You're going to have to play her this year because she's head coach of Towson, which may not jump off the schedule when you look at it. But what is it like to go against someone who you know so well, who has been, such a big part of your life, and you've mentored her?
It's really special, but it's also tough. I hate that somebody has to win and someone has to lose, but I'm also so proud of her and her journey. It's also for us, it's the 20th anniversary of the 2006 national championship team this season. So again, just incredible memories that we have from that team, and to be able to bring them back and celebrate them this season. We had to find that sweet spot around Laura Harper's window when she wasn't coaching. So a game in January that we'll do this year. So, just a lot of great memories to be able to have with that team.
You have done this now in your 24th season at Maryland. You've made the tournament 20 of the 23. You won the Natty. It's just been an impressive, the level of success. For you, what is it that you look back most fondly upon about your time at Maryland? That sometimes it's not just all those wins. The Natty, it's hard to top a Natty, though, Coach.
I think one that I've lasted that long, when you say that many years, I remember coming here and just hoping I could get a contract extension. Was I going to be good enough? There was a lot of doubts at that time. But, winning a national championship, going to Final Fours, those are incredible. It's the relationships. It's the people. At the end of the day, one day when I look back, it's going to be all the players and the coaches and staffs that I got to be a part of each and every day. That's what makes it the most important part of the entire thing.
It is always about the people, no doubt about it. And as we say thank you and take a look at the notable schedules, I just want to ask you one thing. When you're looking at the schedule this year, you guys go play at Pauley Pavilion. It's only the second time that Maryland has played at UCLA. You didn't actually get to be at that game in 2007 because
your boys are listening at home right now, right?
Yeah, because I was pregnant, I had twins, I couldn't travel anymore. But I do remember I was sitting in our theater room with my husband watching that game. We were down by a lot. I was like, what is happening? Came back and ultimately won that game. So I hope we can have that same juju and that kind of success, because I'm really looking forward to. I've been in there as a player when I played at Arizona, but really looking forward to going back as a coach.
It was an amazing game. You guys did come back and win. Best of luck this year. We appreciate the time.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Let's head over to Mike and Christy, who are standing by with some of the Terps players, guys.
Talk about an excuse, Brenda. You couldn't be there because you were pregnant with twins. Come on. Just kidding. We're glad to bring in Kaylene, Smikle, and Yarden Garzon now, who know Brenda so well. Let me start with this, Yarden. You had such great success at Indiana. What made you want to come to Maryland? What were the talks with Brenda like that helped you come be a Terp?
Yeah, I feel like our first phone call, it was a great call. She tried to learn a lot about me. I asked her about her family, what she's about. Obviously, she's one of the best coaches out there. So just talking with her and realize how eye level she is with her players and what she's about. And then I came to visit real quick. The next day I was on campus already and get to meet everybody, and everybody were so honest and open with me. So it just felt like the right place.
And it's such an interesting combo for the two of you, because you were already successful in the Big Ten and are coming to Maryland, which is exactly what happened to you a year before. You were successful and came to Maryland. What have your early conversations been like with her as someone who just went through this a year ago?
I kind of, I'm being honest with her. I'm not going to tell her a lie. I told her, this is a winning program. We all come in practice playing hard every single day. We all have the same goal, and she's a very hard worker. So I feel like coming here, she blended in really well with this team. And no sky's going to be the limit for us.
Kaylene, what did you learn most about yourself on the floor at Maryland last year? You led the team in scoring and in steals, 18 points a game, and you were just all over the place on both sides. But what did you learn most about yourself, skill set-wise, but also trying to be adapted to a new program as well?
I'm capable of hard things. I know the Coach Brenda told me to come in, just kind of be myself, don't change who I am, just playing the flow of the game. Maryland's a transition team, and I thrive in transition, so it wasn't really a hard transition coming to Maryland because that's the style they play. Just let me be myself.
Right, and Yarden, another scoring threat and the floor stretcher, if you will. You're going to bring so much more potency on the offensive end with your ability to shoot the ball from three. But what else can fans look for from you in this Maryland system?
I feel like right now I'm trying to like learn the system, what the coaches need from me, what the team needs from me. I know that I'm trying to develop my game to a lot of like new directions, being better defensive players off and on the ball, add a little bit some mid-range in my game. Yeah, so just try to make my teammates better. I feel like at the end of the day, that's what makes good teams to great and the best teams that they can be, just trying to make my teammates better.
What has that felt like, Kaylene, on the floor with so many different scoring weapons all around, and how much freedom does that give you to get downhill like you like to do?
I feel like it just makes it easier because now you can't always help off me. You have to watch for Yarden, her three-point. You can't just leak off of her, and if they do come to me, I'm going to pass it to her. It's just made the game easier for me, honestly. So,
who do you think on the roster is going to take a big jump this year?
I don't have one particular person. I feel like we're gonna have a balanced attack, and we're gonna have a lot of depth. So I feel like you can't just focus on one person. You're gonna have to focus on everybody on the roster.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like Mira McLean could take a step
that's what
forward.
I'm saying.
Sailor Poffenbarger could take a big step forward this year. There feels like a lot of depth.
There is.
And one of the things that you won't have is having to play each other. Give me the scouting report that you know from playing her and that you know from playing her. What was it like going up against each other?
Well, for Kaylene, it was, she's going to get this bucket. Like, you have to stop her. Like, jump 2-3 people on her, you have to stop her. So just being on her team now, I feel like makes everything easier.
Well, Brenda, go ahead, baby.
It was the same for Yarden. They told us that she was going to hit threes. It was kind of just not like make sure they're contested threes and not wide open threes because she will knock them down.
Right. And Coach Frese was talking about the flexibility now that you have on the defensive end. We're talking about all these scoring, offensive prowess situations that you have that are going to be presented on that side of the court. But on the defensive end, what has practice felt like in that way, especially having Bree McDaniel back on the floor?
I think very intense. You know, Brenda McDaniel's a dog. I mean, that's my partner in crime on the floor. We're gonna be aggravating. Our press break is coming back. We have a lot of great pieces for our defense.
It's going to be a fun year to watch you both. We thank you for your time.
Taking a look at this new look Purdue squad, 9 newcomers, 6 transfers with college experience to go along with a trio of freshmen. Madison Layden-Zay is back after wrapping up her Purdue career. She decided she still had one more year in her, and Katie Gearlds welcomed her back with open arms. Entering her 5th season as head coach of her alma mater. Coach Gearlds joining us on set. Elise Woodward, Ashley Adamson back with you as our Media Day special rolls along. And Coach, let's start with Madison, because I imagine, I didn't think that you thought that it was going to be that she was going to come knocking on your door and say that she was coming back. She got married once she graduated, and you thought kind of that ship had sailed. But tell us the conversation, how you found out.
Yeah, well, her sister on the team, hey, Madison wants to talk to you. Cool, yeah, great. I thought she was coming to tell me she was pregnant. You know, she'd been married for a year, and it's about that time, right? Like, we settle down and have a child, and yeah, she's like, Coach, I think I want to play again, and I want to try to help you win. I want to help Purdue win, and I think I can play. And I was like, all right, let's go talk to compliance, make sure you have that year of eligibility left, and let's get the ball rolling. And you know, so blessed to have her back, someone who knows the system. Bringing only 3 players back, her makes 4, and then so many new kids to our roster. It's kind of like having another coach on the floor, just a really high IQ kid, and we are super blessed.
Well, it's nice to have some familiarity, right? Because you have so many new faces this year. What has jumped out to you about the preseason now? You're in practices. Who's jumped out to you that fans should really know about?
You know, I think it's probably you start with Madison. You know, I think she's worked really hard to get herself in great shape. Taking a year off, I don't know if a lot of people can do that. Take a year off and then come back and get yourself in shape to play college basketball. But it's really her leadership that has. She understands what we're doing. If something happens, you know, everybody kind of gravitates to her. Hey, Mads, what is Coach really saying here? What does she really want? And she's really owned that. And then you add in Lana and KP and Kenna, our 3 returners from last year. Kids who've just like bought into like figuring out how we get Purdue to win. And it's been just really super refreshing.
Well, and I think for you were a dead-eye shooter, one of the best, and you were drafted, played for the Seattle Storm. but you're one of the best shooters I can remember in college basketball. And I want to know who is going to, you love the shooters when you're a shooter. Yeah. So who's your shooters this year? Who do you got that can light it up?
I think we wanted to do our job in the portal of going to find kids who could shoot the basketball. It was important for us to get longer, more athletic, and then kids who could really shoot the ball at a high clip. Madison is almost at 40% for her career. Kiki Smith shot 42% at Arkansas. We got another kid, Nia Smith, shot over 40% from the three. We've got a kid from Israel coming in as a freshman who can shoot the ball at 40%. Taylor Feldman is in the high 30s. There's going to be a lot of people on our floor who can stretch the defense, and then that'll give opportunities for our post players to work inside, but then also our guards to really get downhill and make plays.
I have this vision of you like lining up your players at the three-point line and be like, who's coming? Who can beat Coach? Because if you can't beat Coach, you're all running.
Oh no, they
you still get after some shooting drills, Coach.
You know, like they say that doesn't go away. It's like riding a bike, but the knees and jumping.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it either.
Up to the free throw line and challenge them there, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I hope you're bringing in some of your old film to some of the sessions every now and then.
I don't know. Is there a VCRs that still exist in today's world?
I know. Obviously, you want your players to play fast and with confidence. Tell me, what is shoot before you turn it over? What does that actually look like?
Well, you can't rebound a turnover, so trying to find a way to get that on the rim. We've actually, worked a lot with the Pacers, sitting down with Jenny Busek, and if you watch the Pacers make their way to the NBA Finals, not a lot of superstars, but a lot of really good players who just play fast and can shoot the ball at a high clip. So understanding how we can implement that into our team, something kind of brand new for me and for our team, but they've really grabbed onto it. And it's been a lot of fun. So we are undefeated right now. So hopefully, that can carry over into just making sure we continue to have fun and play really, really hard.
When I think of Purdue, I think of the great tradition. National championships back in 2001. Stephanie White, who's the head coach of the Fever. There's so much tradition at Purdue. You know that as an alum. For you, and experiencing that firsthand of how special of a place it is. Yeah. How do you describe that to your players? How do you use that in recruiting? Just tell me what the Purdue vibe is for those that don't know.
It's hard in today's world because you get kids out of the transfer portal and whatnot, and getting them to understand in a short amount of time how Purdue is and what Purdue is. But I think our community does the best job of really grabbing onto these student athletes, and you can see the true passion of just being a Purdue fan by walking around the entire campus or the entire city of West Lafayette. It's just different, and it's homey, and our community, even through our struggles, they continue to show up for us. So it's our job now. We've got to do a better job of putting a product on the floor that they will continue to keep coming back for. Bring a buddy, come and watch this team. And, we understand where we are. And right now it's how do we find a way to be hard to beat? Make sure if the other team does get us, they had to work really, really hard and play their A+ game to find a way to win them.
And you guys have the X Factor, which is your dog, Coda, who's the director of positivity, is what I've heard.
My little girl.
Is her role evolving this year?
She's in the office quite a bit. She's so Coda is about 2.5 years old, and literally here she is at practice.
Oh my goodness.
Watching over, but she is all of that. Director of positivity. Had Mads in a meeting yesterday, and Coda was in the office, and Coda's just laying on Mads' lap during our meeting, and the girls love her. I'm super blessed because they love all over her, but when I tell her, hey, you ready to go to work? She goes and gets the leash and okay, let's do it.
I love it. I think every team needs an emotional support dog these days. Coach, thank you so much. It's great to catch up with you. Best of luck this season. We are looking forward to watching the Boilermakers as we take a look at some of the notable games on the schedule. A trip to Kentucky highlights the non-conference slate. The Big Ten opener coming at Michigan. Then mid-January, it's out to LA for matchups with USC and UCLA. The Barn Burner Trophy game against Indiana is set for January 25th. Mike and Shimmy are standing by with the players, guys.
Got to get your hands on that trophy there, Ash. By the way, positivity is a pun I'm here for all day long. Lana McCarthy and Madison Layden-Zay are here. All right, Madison, let's start with this. What are you doing here? You were gone.
I don't know.
What happened?
I'm back. This is my 4th media day, so I think I've probably set the record for media days on a team. But just super excited to be back. this group is really special. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
We heard Katie's side of it, but what's your side? What was the trigger? What made you go, wait a minute, I can come back now, I really want to?
Yeah, I was coming back to watch McKenna, so I was at almost every home game, and I kind of realized, I'll never get this opportunity again. So I just wanted to make the most of it, and I'm getting my master's, so that's a bonus.
Well, Lana, she's a three-point shooter, and we know Coach Katie's a three-point shooter, and she's talking about how she values all this three-point shooting. But you're a force inside. Where does that leave the post player?
I mean, I still have a lot of room to work with all that spacing out on the three-point line. It leads the defense to get it gives them some space for me in the side, and then also, I mean, all our guards are really good at moving on the three-point line. So if I get the ball and I'm doubled, I know I can kick it out to them and they'll knock it down.
Well, I was actually really hoping that you were going to say that you have the green light to shoot threes too.
Oh, I mean, I worked on it a lot this spring, and I think it's definitely coming into play this season.
Love it, love it.
You started almost every game last year, your first year in college. Give me the biggest thing you learned. When you look back, you go, I'm this much better than I was 12 months ago because I'm better at this.
I think the whole season last year was just a great learning experience for me. I think every single game I learned something new, and I got to play against some of the best post players in the country, like Lauren Betts, Alexis Markowski, those are some of the greats, and I feel like I learned something every single game. Just my footwork, the three-point line, three-point shooting, where and how to move on the floor. I think I just learned a lot.
When Coach Gearlds says her philosophy this year is shoot it before you turn it over, what does that mean to you, who you've been a prolific three-point shooter your career?
Yeah, I think for me, just knowing that I have the green light, and just knowing that she's not going to take me out for a bad shot. There are going to be bad shots, but just get it up there. We have bigs inside that can rebound as well, so just put it up on the rim for them.
By the way, I thought you were going to go, what does it mean to you? Because you turned the ball over a lot. And I was like, shimmy.
Whoa.
Hang on.
Never. I would never say that, Madison.
Madison, what's the overall vibe on the team this year? I know it's early on in the season, but you've been through a bunch of Boilermaker teams. How's this particular squad feel in terms of the overall gelling?
Yeah, really good vibes so far. I think we really get along. We want to be around each other. We work really hard. And I think that's what's going to make us really dangerous this season.
What stands out about this group of transfers? There's a few new players coming in.
Yeah, I think just how hard they work, and they just want to win just as bad as we do. They've put in a lot of time, and this off season has been really good for us to get to know each other better. And I think that's just going to make us play better on the floor.
Lana, I know what you have done this summer. You've been putting time in the weight room. You look amazing. How much have you spent in the weight room this summer?
I love the weight room. Our strength coach, he's incredible. That's probably my favorite place to be outside of the court. It's fun for me. I feel like I've made a lot of progress there. And then also just working out. I got a lot of time one-on-one with Katie Gearlds this summer and this spring, and I think that has shown in not only my physical appearance, but just my play.
We know the basketball didn't get rusty for you. Did the juggling skills get rusty?
I don't think so. I haven't done it in a while, but...
Sounds like yes, then.
Yeah, I don't think so, though. I think I still got it.
Very good. Lana, Madison, thanks. Madison, we'll see you here next year again.
Yep, probably. Yep.
Very good. And have a great year, the both of you.
Rolling along here at Big Ten Women's Basketball Media Day, and it's been a historic stretch for the Michigan Wolverines. 7 straight NCAA tournament appearances, the longest run in program history. This season, they'll look to make it 8 in a row, led by that talented young core of Olivia Olson, Syla Swords, and Mila Holloway. Freshman starters a year ago who are now part of a special and fast-growing sophomore class. Kim Barnes-Arico, the queen in the middle, the winningest coach in program history, here with Olivia and Syla. We'll hear from the players in just a bit, but let's start with the coach. KBA, thank you so much for making some time. It is great to see you as always, and I know every offseason is different, but I wonder how much difference a year makes. From last year, you had a lot of new young faces, and now they've got a year under their belt. So just coming into this postseason, this preseason, I should say, what's different about a year ago?
Well, it's nice to know that our freshman class all returned. They're all sophomores, and I think in this landscape of college athletics, sometimes you don't know that. But our freshman class all came back, which was amazing. They're incredible basketball players. They're great people. They're great students. They're Michigan women, and they have unfinished business. They want to continue to grow. They want to continue to develop, and they want to continue to do special things at Michigan.
I think it was a surprise how quickly you were able to come together with so many freshmen that were playing huge parts for you, and Syla Swords and Olivia. And how was it that you were able to take this team with they were young, talented, but to get them to play beyond their years so quickly?
Yeah, I think it was a combination of things. Jordan Hobbs and Greta Kamstrader really did a tremendous job as seniors on that team. Jordan always talks about she came in as an unranked kid and left being a draft pick last year. So she had an unbelievable senior season. They both did for us. And they really poured into those freshmen and gave the freshmen the confidence and the platform to do the things that they were able to do. But Syla and Olivia, I mean, from the minute they stepped on campus, I've never coached two kids that worked as hard as they did. Not only were they talented players, but their work ethic was absolutely, absolutely incredible. And they're competitors. They just want to win and be great at every single thing that they do. And then you add Mila Holloway to that mix. I don't think anyone in the country expected Mila Holloway to be able to do what she did as a freshman for us at the point guard position. That's a little bit different. To open up your college career against South Carolina in Vegas as a freshman point guard. And she just handled that load with such grace. And I think, really for her, this next season, her maturity in the preseason, her growth in the offseason has been really, really special. She played U19s with Team Canada, as did Syla. Syla also played with her national team, and being on that stage and having that international experience just continues to help their offseason growth.
Well, you mentioned Mila. Olivia Olson was the Big Ten co-freshman of the year. Syla Swords was incredible, over 16 points per game. Those freshmen, those three, accounted for over 50% of your points last year.
Wow.
I mean, that's incredible.
Wow.
And I said there can be competition when you come in together of who's going to be the lead dog. I didn't sense that from those three at all, that they were rooting for each other. Like, it's your turn to go get 30. No, it's your turn this time. How have you managed just the three of them being able to help each other be better?
I think that's really a great point, because you see that all over basketball, all over sports, where teammates are competing against each other for the spotlight. And we never had that issue last year. I mean, how special is that?
Yes.
How special is it? And players that were the best where they came from really bought into the team dynamic and were so unselfish. And, you talked about Syla and Olivia and their accolades from last year, but I remember every week, I was wondering every week, like, who's going to be Big Ten Freshman of the Week? And I would put up Syla.
That's a tough thing as a coach.
Syla and Liv's stats, and then Mila's stats, and I'd put them all up, and it'd be 15.9 points, 16.1 point, 38%, 39%. I'm like, oh my gosh, who's choosing this? Because for me as a coach, they didn't care. They didn't care. They weren't fighting for points. They were fighting for wins, and they were fighting for our team to be successful. And that started with Mila Holloway. And I even told Mila this week, I go, Mila, you might need to take some more shots than you did last year. And she's an incredible, incredible shooter, incredible scorer. But it's not it's not what she's thinking about first. She's thinking about, how can I get my teammate a shot? How can we be the best Michigan team? And when you take a team of people that do that and have that unselfish attitude, I think you wind up finding success. And that's what we were able to do last year. So, yeah, it's really special. The three of them didn't have that mentality at all, which is unusual in this day and age.
Yeah.
But I think it's what made us find success.
Well, and I know this now, sophomore class is near and dear to your heart, and it's getting bigger. There's now 6 sophomores. Kendall Dudley comes over from UCLA. She's terrific, and I think is going to bring a lot to the program. I wonder for you, Coach, you have 3 kids, your son Trevor, and then you have 2 daughters, one who plays lacrosse at Michigan, Emma, and then Cece. And I think there is something to being able to look at your job differently when you have kids of your own, and then you bring in other people's kids to the program. Just how has that kind of shaped how you look at what you do?
I've really talked about that through the years because I've been coaching for a long time now. Sometimes it feels like yesterday, sometimes it feels like forever. But I do believe when I reflect that becoming a mom really has made me a better coach because it does give me a completely different perspective. And even watching my children go through the process, and when Trevor was the first to go through it, I'm like, what's important? Well, I want him to go to a coach, a man that's going to help him become a better man. I want him to go to someone that's going to help develop his game, but also help develop him as a person. And I think that's really important when I reflect on what I want to, leave. What do you want your legacy to be? I want our players to look back and feel like, coach has helped me in every aspect of my game, helped develop me on the court, but helped me become a better person off the court. And, Emma has been so fortunate to play at the University of Michigan. And she plays for an incredible coach in Hannah Nielsen. And, when she went through the process, that was a really important piece. And now I watch Cece, who's a junior in high school, going through this recruiting process right now. And she always talks about, and I love it, and this isn't a knock on anything, but I love that I have strong women as daughters and strong men in my life that really truly believe in women, in my son and my husband. But my youngest always says, Mom, I would want to play for a woman. Wouldn't a woman want to play for a woman? She's like, Trev was a guy. He got to play for a guy. Like, I want to play for a woman. And I think that is, like, really important to my children. And they've always loved playing for their female coaches. So I think, it has helped me definitely be a better coach. It helps give me perspective on a lot of different things. And at the end of the day, I want our players, I wanted my children to know that someone believes in them and someone knows that they can accomplish things that they don't even yet see. And I want the same for our players.
You literally couldn't have said it better than that. And by the way, Emma scored a goal against Notre Dame, it sounds like, the other day. So shout out to her.
Yeah.
Coach, great to see you. Thank you so much for making the time. We're looking forward to watching this squad. There's a lot to be excited about for a schedule that features Notre Dame, UConn, and Syracuse all before Thanksgiving. Whew, that is some confidence right there.
That are confident right there. They want the best. They want to
giving you a headache already, putting together the scouting report for UConn.
Bring it. Yes.
A chance to avenge that NCAA tournament loss to the Irish November 15th in the Shamrock Classic in Detroit. So many great games to look forward to. Mike and Shimmy are with two of those sensational sophomores we were just talking about, guys.
That's right, Ash. The first pair of freshman teammates in Big Ten history to score 500 points or more in the same season are Syla Swords and Olivia Olson, who join us now. You two will be tied at the hip for a long time as long as you keep playing to this level. I want you each to explain, Syla, you start, what it's like to play with the other.
Yeah, Liv's a really special player. You can tell every time she hits the floor because the intensity of the game changes, the intensity of practice changes. And whether it's a shooting drill, whether it's a defensive drill, you never have to question whether she's going her hardest because that's just who Liv is. And so anytime we have to pick a team, pick a player, Liv's always at the top of my list because I know she's out there to win and she's always pushing people to be better.
Olivia?
I would say Syla's the most unselfish player I've ever played with. On and off the court. She's the best teammate you'll ever have on your team, and I think that's so different and unique of the best player on the court on the team is not always the best teammate or best leader. And so for her to just pour into everyone else, you're seeing her pick someone who's struggling that day to be on her team, but then she's also hitting the game-winning shot for Team Canada and just dominating at everything, and she goes at everything so hard. So, and I think I just love being her teammate.
I want you to be honest with this one, Liv. How often do you make fun of her Canadianness? Whether it's in front of her, behind her back, you can be honest. It's okay.
Maybe I'll give it twice a season. I'll give it twice a season. But other than that, we love our Canadian queen.
The best is I was totally kidding, and I love that there was an actual, I'm going to give her two.
She was honest.
Yeah, I respect that.
Well, I don't know how you can possibly make fun of anyone who literally has gone on the record and said they have no fear of failure. Like, how? Were you born that way, or did you get hit in the head too hard? Like, what is this?
Yeah, I would just say it's probably the situations I've been in growing up through the Canada basketball system. Being a hooper from Canada, you're not expected to do so many things on the American stage. Going in, being a 16-year-old, playing on the senior team with Natalie Achanwa, who's now our assistant coach, 4-time Olympian, having to guard Kia Nurse, who's a WNBA All-Star, and I still hadn't even gotten my high school degree, let alone my college degree. And it's recognizing that, yeah, I'm probably going to go in and look crazy at some times when you're playing against such high-level talent. Yeah, I'm not going to perform the way I want to perform every single day, but recognizing that every single day I'm getting closer to my end goal of being the best that I can be at the end of every practice, every minute of training.
And Olivia, while this one was all over the world playing basketball for Team Canada, you were back in Minnesota doing something very special. You took your own money and you bought a Dr. Dish for a youth basketball program. Well, why was that important to you?
It was important to me because I gave it to Legacy Hoops, where I grew up training, and Ramin Underwood, the owner, he's given me so much, and he's poured so much of his wisdom and basketball knowledge into me. So it felt like with our game and how it's growing, it felt like the only right thing to do was give back to them and just help little girls and kids be the best versions of themselves and be able to train every day.
I mentioned at the beginning you two will be tied at the hip. We could easily have a third chair and have Mila Holloway right here with you, along with you, another player who came in when you did and made a big impact. I want you to both to give me the idea of what it's like playing with her.
Yeah, playing with her, she's also fearless. So she's getting up on people on defense. She's getting rebounds and pushing it up to the wings to attack. And her mid-range, she has crazy moves. So sometimes I'm like, how did she just make that? But, she just has so much energy, and she's so calm to her that you don't know when nothing ever messes with her. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it earlier. It doesn't feel right for the two of us to be here without Mila being here, our point guard. And I think people don't give enough credit to what she did last year, coming in, being underrated, being under-recruited, and then you're starting on a big high-level team like Michigan. You're playing with so much poise. You're playing against #1 teams in the country every second week. You're playing against UCLA, going against the guards of South Carolina. And for Mila to carry the weight that she does every single day and still be a point guard. Like that, at the end of the day, she's a point guard, but she was a freshman point guard, and she was able to do it with such success and such poise that her name needs to be mentioned in these conversations.
How often do you see sophomores this poised and put together?
Leaders.
Seriously.
This is the new leadership of this program. Very.
To the both of you, thanks so much for your time. Have a great season.
Thank you. Thank you.
Big Ten Women's Basketball Media Day continues as we turn our attention to the Indiana Hoosiers, who will have a brand new look this year. Shea Chesky, the only returning starter from last year's NCAA tournament team. Lene Beaumont returns from an injury that kept her out all of last season. 8 newcomers on the roster for the head coach of the Hoosiers, Teri Moren, who joins us as she gets ready to kick off her 12th season in Bloomington. Coach, it is great to see you. I know you had a very busy summer, so let's start there. Congratulations on winning another gold medal, your 4th straight, either as an assistant or a head coach for Team USA. It is incredible. And I know that it was obviously such a meaningful experience. There's so much pride, I can imagine, in coaching Team USA and being asked to do that. But it also takes you away from your team and your job back home. So I'm just curious, how did you navigate, or how do you navigate it? Because it's something you've gotten used to.
Sure. Well, thank you. It's great to be here. Yeah, it's a challenge, but it's an ask that you just cannot turn down, right? To represent, your country and to coach some of the best, players in the country and the world. But how that works is you have to have a tremendous staff at home. And, around Indiana, we always talk about it takes a village, right, to help our players and support our players and pour into our players. And so, part of me being able to do that always comes back to just the tremendous work and workers that I have back in Bloomington.
Well, I just love it because Team USA, they're taking the best coaches, and you have to have results. And you guys have won 20 games for 10 straight years at Indiana, 6 straight NCAA tournaments. For you, what is it? Because that is different personnel, different groups, different everything. And that's the way that college basketball is, certainly, to be able to adjust to each roster. Yeah. For you, what has been the key in all of those different teams to be able to get 20-win seasons?
Well, first of all, you got to have talent. you have, we always talk about the character piece, the high character piece, but you have to have talent, and you have to, invite players in your organization that have won, whether it's at another institution, but certainly in high school. Those are a few things that we look at, but I think the relationship piece is always going to be paramount to what we do at Indiana and how we've been able to sustain the level of success. I think your players have to have buy-in, but you have to have true chemistry. And you can have all the talent in the world, but your locker room is a place where that's where the good stuff happens, right? When you have all those players that are in alignment with what the goals are, what the standards are, and they're speaking the same language. The messaging is always the same. You're going to have tough moments. You're going to have tough practices. You're going to have great practices. You're going to have tough games and great games. But how can we stick together throughout all of that? And I certainly think it starts with leadership inside that locker room, and being able to, again, the messaging and what we're saying to one another and how we bounce back and how we, turn whatever happened that day, the next day is the most important day.
You were such a dangerous team last year because of the way you shot the ball from three. You had higher percentage of points from deep than any other team in the Big Ten. And you can knock off anybody when you can fill it up like that. What will this year's team be like in terms of shooting the basketball, or where are the strengths of this roster?
Well, I still feel like we do have the strengths of being able to shoot it at a high level beyond the arc. I think for us it's just anytime that you bring together pieces and players that just haven't had the experience of playing with one another, it's going to take some time to do that. So I think we're certainly believe in our talent. I believe in our players. All of them have a skill set that we would not have brought to Indiana if they couldn't help us win games. And so we will always attempt and want to be deadly behind the arc, but I certainly am a coach that still believes in balance. And so you have to have somebody that's going to anchor, whether it's on the defensive side of the ball or inside with great post play, and then sprinkle those guys on the outside with not just skill of getting to the basket, attacking the glass, but also being able to knock down that open three.
One of those 8 newcomers that we're talking about, Zania Soka-Newman, a UCLA transfer who you actually got to know even better because she was with you in the Czech Republic and winning that gold medal. You originally recruited her to IU. She is now here. So eventually she got to where you think she was supposed to be. But what does she bring? What did you learn about her getting to coach her this summer?
Well, one of the things that I love about Z is she is one of the most coachable kids that I was had on that team. In the Czech Republic. Anything that you asked her to do, she was going to do. And if that was to come off the bench and be a rebounder, if it was come off the bench and be a threat on the inside, if it was just to talk, right? Be a great communicator while you're out there. And now that we got her back in Bloomington and I even get to be around her more, just her coachability is off the charts. I mean, whatever you ask Z to do, she's going to do it, and she's going to do it at the highest level. That's why I'm so excited about having her as one of our, not just our players, but an inside presence that we're going to rely on. We're going to count on her. But she has been a joy to coach. She wants to get it right. She's a pleaser. She wants to help in any way she can for us to be successful. But, in terms of her coachability, 10 out of 10 every day.
I always think of, for true basketball fans, that Indiana's like, the homeland.
Right.
You see what the Indiana Fever have done and all the fan support and all that. Right. And for the Hoosiers, what you guys have been able to do. How do you describe what it's like and the passion for the game of basketball in the state of Indiana?
Well, I think you hit it. The word is passion. We're the most passionate fans. What we've been able to, do in Bloomington, and for me to be able to sit and kind of have watched it grow in terms of our fan base and the energy level that's in Simon Scott Assembly Hall night in and night out. It's something that we speak to in the recruiting process, but I can tell you our kids love playing in the hall. It's their favorite place, should be their favorite place, but it is their favorite place because of the crowds, right? Because of the fans. We have intelligent fans, we have great fans, and they'll come from not just Bloomington. We have a great community, but Indianapolis, Evansville, the surrounding states that want to see high-level, basketball. We play in such a great conference as well, right? The Big Ten, there's nothing better. And so, we are excited about, having, our attendance has been in the top 10 for the last several years. Our success, a lot of it has to do with those players, but you can't not mention the fans that are in there night in and night out. They do get us to the finish line.
Well, and it's one thing that when they're coming to you at Assembly Hall, and it's one of the most special places to watch any sporting event, but you guys have a new Hoosier Hysteria format this year where you took the game to yes, to where the students are. It sounds like from outside the bars on Kirkwood was where this Hoosier Hysteria. How did it go?
It was interesting because I've gone into my 12th season, and this is the first time we did take it outside to Kirkwood, where we wanted to engage with our not just our fans but also the students, and it was a beautiful night in Bloomington. And again, a night filled with so much energy and passion for Indiana, and oh, by the way, the Cubs won that night too. So there was, there was an excitement level. I think when Sid Parrish and I were talking to the crowd, and the Cubs went behind us in the bar, and you can imagine, the noise level. But it was a great night for Indiana. It's a great night for our fans to meet both our men's team and our women's team, and it's something that I don't know if we'll continue to do it. It was a nice break from what we've been able to do, but I would say this, that the fans that don't normally have the opportunity to be in Simon Scott Assembly Hall, that is the one night when we have Hoosier Hysteria that they can actually be in the hall, which I think is super special.
Yeah,
it's great.
No, I love that. Well, and you mentioned Sid Parrish. She's now our colleague,
Yeah,
so
what a star.
we are looking forward to that. Yes,
another
we have
star,
another star
in a different way.
Yes,
Yeah, right.
exactly.
We're
Looking
in a
forward to
different
working
hat.
with her. Teri, it's great to see you. Thanks so
Thank
much
you
for
so
the
much.
time,
I
and
appreciate
best of
it.
luck this season. So much to look forward to with this Indiana Hoosier squad as we take a look at some of the notable games coming up. Non-conference highlights include a mid-November trip to Florida State, Thanksgiving in Fort Myers for a tournament matchup with Gonzaga, then the Big Ten road slate, no joke, trips to Maryland, Ohio State, USC, UCLA. For more on the Hoosiers, let's kick it back over to Mike and Christy, guys.
Well, we've got Lene Beaumont and Shea Chesky here, but I want to start off by asking the most important question. When did your head coach join a biker gang? Leather jacket representing. How about Teri?
She definitely has some fashion, more than us, we always say, more than us.
Yeah, she definitely knows how to dress, but I was not aware she was a part of a biker gang.
We'll talk to her about that the next time, for
Okay,
sure.
perfect.
There's so much to get to with you two. I want to start with this, Lene. It was knee surgery last December,
Yep.
right? I want to know how your recovery is going, but I also want to tell you, everyone I've talked to in your program is like, look out for Lene this year.
Well, thank you. I've never felt better, honestly. It's a miracle that, I wake up every day, no pain, ready to go and ready to practice. It's been a great experience. The first couple weeks were hard. Just you forget that you're able to play basketball, which is a blessing, but now I'm in a really good spot. I'm ready to go.
And compare that to your freshman year. You played 30 games that season.
Yeah.
So what did you glean from yourself because of that experience, and how are you carrying that forward into this healthy season?
Yeah, I think I just have a whole new perspective. Any opportunity you get to play the game you love, it's a great opportunity. So my freshman year, I had some limited minutes, but I felt like I took advantage of those in any way that I could. And now knowing that, whatever opportunity I get this year, I'm ready to attack it.
And Shea, you knocked in 47 triples last year, shot 46% from the floor. Different squad around you, though, this year as the only returning starter. What has that felt like in practice for you, and how does that change what you like to do, especially from beyond the arc?
Yeah, not much has changed. Yes, we do have a new squad, but I think we gelled so well in the summer, and it feels like we've been playing for years together, which is such a cool feeling. But, regards to my game, it's not going to change too much. I'm definitely going to lean into more of my facilitator role for sure, and kind of just do my part to help the team out as much as I can.
And I don't know if it was causation or correlation, but it felt like last year when your team was hitting threes, you won. And when you guys were
crazy.
pulled from team,
Math
you
was
lost.
mathing.
So the million-dollar question is, how can you make sure you're making more threes this upcoming season as a team?
Yeah, Coach reloaded with a great roster. We have a lot of three-point shooters now. Just off of my head, our freshman Maya and Phoenix from Arkansas, two just great outside shooters that are going to help us a lot. But yeah, we're not shying away from any threes this year.
With Maya, she's 35th best freshman coming into Indiana. And what advice have you given her to be able to be organic with it, not force those three-point opportunities, knowing that the team wants to do that? But how are you trying to help her along in that way?
Yeah, I think just trying to instill confidence in her every single day, whether she makes or misses in the practices. I try to go up to her all the time and be like, hey, those are shots we want for us, let those go. And so speaking for both our freshmen, they've been from the jump ready to go and attack the whole thing. They don't play like normal freshmen, so we're super excited for them.
Let me ask you about high school senior year, Lene. State title game goes to overtime.
Man.
And then another overtime.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that?
I mean, first of all, that was probably one of the longest games I've ever been a part of. And I'm like, I don't know. First of all, I want to win, but is this game ever going to end? That was such a cool experience. I still look back on it and I'm like, damn, that's a game we should have won. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't have changed it. Great teammates, great people. I had a great experience, but I wish I had a ring right now. So.
Yeah. 28 points for you, by the way, in that
Thank
state
you.
title game performance. Before we let you go, who's more irrational, crazy person? Lene watching the Bears or Shay watching the Bills?
I feel like I could answer this one. Probably me with my Buffalo Bills.
Most definitely.
I'm a diehard Bills fan to the core. I actually just tried to convert her from
good
the
luck.
Bears
It's crazy.
to the Bills, and I think it's been working out.
It's kind of work. It's hard.
It's
when
working out?
Okay, well,
It is working out. I don't know if you guys
I love
seen
my
our man
Bears,
in charge,
but-
Josh Allen, recently, but
I've heard of him.
yeah, man of the people. But
like you said, the Bears
Yeah.
are struggling some days. I like to win.
you can hop on the bandwagon.
You're a quitter, Beaumont.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you are. Weak-willed quitter. How dare you? Shay and Lene, thanks so much.
Thank you,
Looking forward
guys.
to watching you both
Thank
this
you.
entire upcoming season.
We are having fun here on Big Ten Women's Basketball Media Day as we take a closer look at the Michigan State Spartans, who won 23 games a year ago, including their first NCAA tournament game since 2019. Two of the top three scorers from that squad are back, and Robin Freilich brings in a couple of impact transfers, Jalen Brown from Arizona State and Rashonda Jones from Purdue. She's the only Michigan State coach to reach the NCAA tournament in the first of each of her 2 seasons. Coach joining us now on set. It's great to see you. I know wherever the bar is set, you want to raise it higher and higher. You've got some newcomers, you've got some returners. Just tell us how the pieces are all coming together here in year 3 for you in East Lansing.
Yeah, we're a work in progress. We feel really good about our returning core, that we feel like all of them got better, and that was our big challenge to them this offseason. And then adding transfers and freshmen and combining a group and kind of figuring out who you are so far has been fun.
You take over Michigan State, and as Ashley mentioned, you're 2 for 2 in making it to the big dance. For you, in terms of goals and how personally satisfying that is, I thought you coached your squad up. I thought you did one of the best jobs in the Big Ten last year. For you just personally,
Yeah.
you look back, I mean, you've got to give yourself grades of that was really good. What did you do last year as a squad that you were able to coach your team up that you were proud of?
Well, we got better, and we got better from where we were our first year. And that's our goal, is how do we incrementally continue to build, and how do we make the most out of who we have? And it's our job to figure that out year to year, season to season. That's what makes it fun. It's kind of this ongoing problem solving. But I'm excited to see what this group can do and where we can go when we stay in pursuit together.
Well, I thought defensively last year, you were second in the league in steals. You were third in blocks in the Big Ten. You were physical. Nothing came easy for opponents. And that it can grind mentally and physically on opponents. How did you see that play out?
We want to be an every possession team and an every possession player. And to do that sounds really cool, but it's hard. And how do you get a group to care about every possession at the relentless mentality that's required to be really, really good? And so that's what we're working on right now in practice. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of collective teamness. But that's the way we like to play. That's the way we believe in playing. That's the way we are when we're at our best. So we're going to keep working on it.
Yeah. Coach, how do you teach that, though? Because I think there is something with when you're talking about effort and want to, and just the desire. It's one thing to coach skills and fundamentals, but how do you what does that look like in practice?
There's a competitive spirit to being really good. and how do you get a collective team competitive spirit. And so it's the way you train, it's the way you practice, it's what you preach. You know, the other day I shared at the end of our practice that you're good enough. Like, we're good enough to be challenged, right? We're good enough to figure out how do we get to this next level individually and collectively. But, you know, it's a work in progress for sure, but that's what's fun about it.
Well, I would say that the one player that epitomizes working hard is Theron Halleck. I love watching her play. She goes 100 miles an hour down the floor.
She does.
She flies. She was one of the players in terms of transition points last year. She's a blur to get to the other end, but she plays hard on both ends, and she's a true Michigan Stater.
Yep.
Tell folks who don't know about Theron Halleck her story of, I mean, her whole family is Go Sparty.
Yeah, all her family members, Michigan State grads, born and raised a Spartan, plays like it, loves like it, believes like it, and we think she's arguably one of the fastest players, if not the fastest player in the league, and her speed is dynamic. We're really challenging her on playing with change of speed, but yeah, really fun to coach, great competitor, and elite speed.
Yeah, when you line up at the baseline, is she just crushing everybody in sprints?
She can.
Ooh, is that a challenge?
She can.
That's good. And Theron's here. We're going to hear from her in just a little bit. I can see her smiling over there on the side set. Grace Van Slooten, the other player that you brought with you, just a tremendous talent who, again, came over from Oregon and has been able to have a big impact on this team. Team captain this year, what do you see as she takes the next step?
Well, what we love about Grace is that her goals, her work ethic match her goals. And she is relentless in pursuit of getting better. She knows the day in and day out grind of what it looks like to really put the work in. And when a player like Grace does that, it sets an example for our whole team of what it looks like to care at a high level and to work at a level that matches that. So grateful that we have both of them as Spartans, and we're going to keep working to get better and figure out who we can be.
Well, and I think you have those veterans that you can rely on, that you know what you're going to get, and they may even be better this year, as you said. But you've got some new faces that you really like. Tell the folks out there for Michigan State this year, who are some of the players that they should know? Yeah,
well, you know, we added 4 transfers and 3 freshmen, and all of them are making an impact. The transfers have a lot of experience. You know, they've all played a lot of high-level college basketball. What I like is they're very different. And with the way we play, you know, you've got to be able to think, you've got to be able to make decisions, and you've got to have a great motor. And seeing that kind of this new influx of enthusiasm and some just new pieces, it's our job to kind of figure out how it's going to all go together. But we've been really excited about what we're going to be able to do with our new group too.
I think enthusiasm is one of the most underrated human traits that there is, and that can go a long way when you're talking about what a team is capable of.
Yeah.
Coach, it is great to see you. Best of luck this season.
Thanks so much. Go Green.
All right.
Appreciate you guys.
As we take a look at some of the notable games coming up for the Michigan State Spartans in year 3 under Robin Freilich, an awesome Big Ten home slate in East Lansing. Michigan, Maryland, UCLA, Ohio State, all come into town. But I got to say, Mike and Christy, we did hear what Coach said about Theron Halleck, that she can win every sprint, but it sounds like she doesn't always win every sprint. So let's kick it over the side set, guys.
Well, let's start there. Theron and Grace are here. Your coach says you can win every sprint, Theron, but you don't win every sprint. What's going on?
Well, right now I'm in planks because I got some leg issues that I just can't do the extra running, but I will and do win every sprint.
Okay, sounds
not
like
really sure what happened over
sounds
there.
like an excuse.
Okay. Yeah, well, you know, I got to take care of myself before, but
see, that's responsible.
I don't know what that was. I'll talk to her after this.
Okay, good. You'll bring her to the side. You two are the Speed Twins. Do you remember who was the first person to come up with that moniker?
I think I was.
Yeah, it was Theron.
Yeah?
For sure, yeah.
I kept on throwing it to her, and she kept on sprinting and beating the post on the floor. So I was like, all right, we're a good dynamic duo here with the speed.
And have we ever actually just said, let's test each other? Who is faster?
I don't think so, but last summer we would do turf sprints for conditioning. And, you know, we would go back and forth between who won the last one. Yeah. So it's tied, I'd say.
Tied.
Oh,
good.
boy. We need to see the breaking of the tie. We need that on
Yeah,
video.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that'll
Let's
be
do it
great.
right now, actually.
In the heels.
Yeah, while she's wounded. Yeah,
see,
right.
do it now? Okay. Theron, what is it about the defense from the Spartans in terms of how you get that offense activated and those push-ahead passes to your teammates?
Yeah, I think one thing that we focus on a lot is our gap defense, and we're still continuing to do that and continuing to grow in that. Coach Cam and Coach Freilich really emphasize being in the gap. And I think this team has a lot of versatility, and we have a lot of size. We're long in a lot of ways, too. And I think if we get in those picket pockets and we can get those steals and transition in a great offense, I mean, we'd rather turn defense into offense than set up half court and have to run a play.
Grace, at what point last season did you go, I feel comfortable. I know the team, the system. This is home for me.
Yeah, I would say probably 4 or 5 games into conference play. Obviously it takes a while for that chemistry to get there with all those new players, learning all the new systems and everything like that. But I'd say 4 or 5 games into conference, I felt really comfortable. I felt like I knew my place. I felt like I knew what was expected of me every night. I think that's when I saw like my game really start to take off.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I want to ask you, it might be a simple question, but I'd rather hear the way you phrase it. How important is it to your game to get to the free throw line as much as possible?
I think really important. I think just staying physical. I think obviously the more fouls you draw, the more chance for points you have. And, you want to get into that bonus area so that your teammates can then also get fouled and go up there and knock down free throws. So definitely a big, big part of my game.
And you went to the NCAA tournament back-to-back seasons, and Theron, what is it about those experiences that will lead you to solid momentum in this season?
Yeah, I think learning and growing from those. We've been blessed to be a part of the tournament, and we're going to hopefully continue to do so. I think with the tournament, it's the small things, those big rebounds, those big steals, the small things that you need to pay attention to detail for. I mean, we talk about that in the huddle. We got to pay attention to what coach is saying, draw out that play, and we got to execute well. So paying attention to those details is something really important. And I think as seniors, we've gone through the experience now of making the tournament and not making the tournament. So to be able to do those small details and get those small things is something really important going forward.
Some newcomers on the roster this year, in particular, Anna and Amy.
Yes. Yep.
Identical twins.
Yes.
Who's the worst on the team at getting their names right?
I feel like everybody does a good job.
Everybody does a really good job.
That's
because
boring.
Once you get to know them, they don't look alike at
In
all.
film, though, when it's film, Freylick will be like, is that Amy or Anna? Yeah. But, that's I feel like that's okay.
I feel like you're throwing her under the bus because of what happened earlier, though.
Well, yeah, because I don't know what was going on over there, Frey.
I do have a very important thing before we go, though.
Okay.
Christy's son is on the MSU men's team.
Yes, he is.
So if there's anything you'd like to report about her, this is an okay time to narc if he's making bad choices. Right now, the platform is yours.
No, we were just telling him she did a great job raising him. He's very respectful. He's a gentleman. He came out at Midnight Madison and hit that moonwalk Michael Jackson. We were like, okay, Jay Scott, you got it. But no, he's doing great, and he looks like he's happy. So.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. He is loving it in East Lansing, and, he's around women's basketball a lot because I was a coach. So he understands and respects the game for what it is as a whole.
Well, we're glad he's at state.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Thanks so much, ladies.
Thank you.
We'll see you throughout the season.
Thank you.
First year in the Big Ten for Oregon. The Ducks won 20 games. They got back to the NCAA tournament, had that dramatic overtime win over Vanderbilt in the first round. The Ducks were nails in close games last year, by the way. Kelly Graves, a new-look team. His top 4 scorers are gone, but some very talented and experienced transfers coming in. Astera Tahina, Avery Kane, Mia Jacobs, all bringing something a little bit different. Kelly Graves, year 12 in Eugene, joining us on set now. Coach, it is great to see you, as it always is. And, last year, I'm just thinking about what a difference a year makes. You're stepping into a brand new league. There was so much unknown with the 4 West Coast schools joining the Big Ten. And yet for you, it felt like it was like a shot of confidence and energy. And you guys you won 9 more games than you did your last year in the Pac-12. Overall, as you look back on last year, what went right?
Well, personally, I really enjoyed it because I hadn't been to a lot of places. I'd never been to State College. I'd never coached at Chrysler Arena. I'd never been to the Barn in Minnesota. And, so that was kind of fun. When you've been doing it as long as I have, this is 38 years of coaching, you've kind of seen everything. And so I saw some new stuff. I was actually surprised a little bit at the style of play. I think the Pac-12 was obviously a very good conference. We had great teams, but it was a little more traditional in how teams played. And I got to the Big Ten, and a lot of teams played that spread offense, 4 guards. And so we weren't necessarily built for that kind of a game. And so we've adjusted our recruiting a little bit to kind of match that. But it was a good first year. We played well on the road, went 4-4. We split every road trip. I did learn that it's cold in a lot of places in the conference. I wasn't used to that. But all in all, I think it was a good beginning for us, and now hopefully we can build on that.
Well, you guys were incredible last season in close games, and the streak was games decided by 5 or less. You had the best record in the Big Ten, and they always say that's a sign of good coaching, Kelly. So you tell me, what, honestly, though, you had veterans, you had the ability to close in tight games. Why?
You just said it. We had veteran guards, Deja Kelly, Peyton Scott, and Ani Falatea. You can say coaching, but hello, I didn't score a single basket or get a single rebound, so it had nothing to do with me. I've always felt players win close games, and that's where we're going to be a little bit different this year. We're not going to have that senior laden guard line. Yeah, we have some seniors, we have some experienced players, but we're going to really rely on young guards, but hopefully we keep that same formula and have that same kind of success in close games. Because in great conferences like the Big Ten, and the Big Ten is the best conference in my opinion in the country, you're going to play a lot of close games. So we're going to have those opportunities.
Well, one of the players you have coming in that has experience winning is Estera Tahino from Washington State. Was part of the Pac-12 tournament championship a couple of seasons ago, and she joins the Ducks Northwest product coming out of Washington State. What have you seen for her? She's a leader as the point guard spot. How has she acquiesced to your team?
Oh, I think she's great. She's been a godsend for us in a lot of ways. Very solid at the point, makes good decisions. We're trying to play faster this year, so I'm trying to speed her up a little bit. But I think that's going to be one of our strengths this year. We've got AT at the point. We've got Elisa Mevius returning, and then Katie Fiso. So we have 3 really good players that can be those lead guards for us. So. And like I said, we're trying to play fast, and with that, you need a veteran like Estera to, calm things down.
I want to ask you about Mia Jacobs, one of the players that you brought here today. 19 double-doubles with Fresno State last year. I mean, I think obviously she brings experience and depth at the forward position. What have you learned about her since she's joined the program?
She's fun to coach. I call her Larry Bird because she just does a little bit of everything and does it well. She can shoot with range. She can score at every level, draws a lot of fouls, and is really good on the boards. And so we're going to rely on her a lot. And but like you said, she's done it. She's experienced. She's ready for a bigger challenge, and the Big Ten's certainly going to be that. But I'm a blessed coach knowing that she's on my roster and not the others.
Well, it's funny you mention a player that can do everything. I'm watching Satu Sabali just rip it up in the WNBA this year, and she's playing in the finals with Phoenix. You mentioned at the time when she was a member of the Oregon Ducks that she was a unicorn, and I remember you telling me she may be better than Sabrina Ionescu someday. She just might be. Yeah. She's had an incredible postseason. But for you, you've got so many Ducks out there that are, obviously Sabrina, as I mentioned. What, for you, the pride that you see when Satu's in the WNBA finals, what does that mean to you?
Well, it's amazing. We're really rooting for her to win a championship. Her sister Niara got one last year with the Liberty. Ruthie Hebert got one with the Chicago Sky, and Sabrina got one with the Liberty too. So now it's her turn. That's pretty neat to see. And as a coach, that's one of the things that you take pride in, and it sometimes it gets me emotional. I went to Paris last year, and 8 of my former players were playing in the Olympics. And one of our jobs as a coach is to help our players fulfill their dreams, whatever that dream might be. And I know everybody wants to be an Olympian. Everybody wants to be a WNBA champion. So I'm just a conduit to help them to that end. And so it makes me feel real good.
Yeah, I see you pulling up. You got the matchup with Courtney Vandersloot and Sabrina, and there's Kelly front row. They get you tickets.
Yeah, when you got 3 or 4 players on the court, they tend to take care of you down there.
But you see that emotion, Coach, and I think that's so real because it is about the people, right? And that's why you do it, and you've been doing it. You mentioned 38 years. This game has changed so much. You've coached in so many different situations, so many different programs and leagues. What is something that you have changed recently about the way that you approach? Because I think the best players or the best coaches do evolve. What's something that you can point to that's different?
Well, I've always been I drive players. There's no question about it. And I think as I've gotten a little older, I'm maybe doing that in a different way. I have a better grasp of the bigger picture, and I wish. We always want to talk to our 20 or 25-year-old selves, right? And I think I've changed in that regard. I take each day and and just feel blessed that I have another day to do what I do. Not to get all sappy here. I
Let's do
apologize.
it. I'm in. I got
This
some
is a
Kleenex
hoop
over
show.
here.
But I think as a coach, you gain better perspective. And I was one, I'm an old school coach still, but I was one of those that was a little slow to embrace the new way of doing things, the NIL, the portal, and things like that. And I think we have adjusted. It took us a year or two, but we've turned it, and I think now we've got the program back to be, a nationally relevant, and I'm excited about that because that's where Oregon athletics should be, and certainly Oregon basketball.
Well, and you won 20 games last year. You made it back to the NCAA tournament. You advanced to the round of 32. And for this year's team, there's a lot of new faces. As you mentioned, the veteran guards you don't have. You mentioned you wanted to run it. You want to go up tempo. What tell us about this Oregon squad and what you think the strengths will be.
Well, you guys have known me for a long time, and I'm an offensive coach, and have had a couple different programs lead the nation in scoring. I want to get back to that style of play and make offense, the focal point of our program. And yeah, I think we've got. It starts with good guard play, and I already mentioned a few guards, but we have great scoring guards. One of whom's here, Sophia Bell, Ari Long. Avery Kane, the transfer in from UCLA. We have 2 talented freshmen. And then we have mobile post players. Amina Muhammad, who sometimes people forget, she started for us last year and had a really nice, solid year. We're asking a lot of her. Mia Jacobs, a very versatile player. Sarah Rambus has made that next jump, which is important. And he's Etute and Philippa Tilliander give us, a physical presence inside. And so I think we've got the necessary ingredients. Now, as a coach, I'm trying to, be that chef, right? That chef to put it all together. And I think, we'll see, what happens in the end. But I'm excited every day to go to practice because I really like this group.
I love that.
Wink, wink. I'm going to downplay it a little
yeah,
bit.
It's
we
good.
got a lot of work to do, but I think we've got a chance to be pretty good.
Coach, always great to catch up with you. By the way, I'm here for all the emotions, so anytime you just need a good cry, you come on over, all right?
She's Oprah over here. She's going to try to, get you.
Well, sometimes as an old guy, not that I'm that old.
No.
You do. You get emotional a little bit more, and you see these student athletes as kind of your kids in some way.
Absolutely.
And, so like I said, I'm really blessed.
Well, we are blessed to be able to catch up with you and looking forward to watching your squad this year. Thank you for
you guys. Thanks for what you're doing. Seriously, this is a long day. You guys are real
No,
professionals.
we're just getting started.
We're not digging ditches out here.
Just getting started, exactly. As we take a look at some of the notable games on the schedule for Kelly Graves. Coach, thank you so much. Esther Tahina will go back to face her former team at Washington State as part of a non-conference slate that includes a road trip to Auburn. And, yeah, the Cougs are one of 3 former Pac-12 foes on the schedule. Oregon State and Stanford both playing the Ducks in December. Plenty of excitement and opportunity for this squad as we kick it over to Mike and Shimmy, who are with Sophia Bell and Mia Jacobs, guys.
Thank you very much, Ash. Mia and Sophia are here. Thanks for joining us. I want to start with you, Sophia, because your story is really interesting. You graduated college in 2 years. Here's my question. What?
I mean, yeah, it was like a combination of a couple things. I was able to come in with some credit from high school from like APs and then some dual enrollment classes. And then, yeah, once I got here, I just took an extra class here and there. And then last summer took care of a lot of credits. So,
holy cow. Yeah. That's supremely impressive. I mean, are you giving her a hard time for that, being all smart and stuff?
All of our team is like really on her about it, and we love it, and we always make fun. We don't make fun of her for it, but like we always make sure that her achievements are always.
In case people couldn't tell, Mia comes from Australia, and more specifically from Fresno State. What made you want to come to the Oregon Ducks?
There's a few things, obviously the girls on the team and the style of play, but I think the family aspect just makes everything better too. So yeah, that was one of the biggest things.
I actually thought you came to Eugene because of the great beaches. No, that's not the case.
Not quite the same.
All right,
as
let's
Australia,
talk about your
but
photography then.
Yeah.
So we have the brainiac over here, and then we have the creator. You're quite the photographer. I've had a chance to watch some of your look at some of your work. Where did this come from?
I think I've always had a little passion for it, but not the execution. So getting here, I was able to get in contact with a few people and finally be able to start and get going. And a lot about photography is just getting in it and experiencing
So yeah, that was one of the biggest things that I was able to do. So yeah, it's been great so far.
We're looking at some of the pictures that Mia has taken, often sports focused.
Yeah.
Very cool. You know, your coach was talking over there with Ashley and Elise about the pace. How do you two describe what the pace of the team's going to be this year?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to play a fast style of basketball, get up and down the court, in as few seconds as we can. So that really has just started in practice and getting reps doing that. And yeah, pushing the pace, looking for early shots in transition, trying to create chaos on defense, and yeah, just getting up and running the floor.
Why is it important to have fast pace?
It's a lot of what we do. So a lot of us work better in transition. We're not as tall as we were last year, so being able to use that to our strengths, finding open people, and kind of just going from there.
You've had several people transfer into the program. Not anyone transfer out of the program. That's very rare, especially today. What is it about this program, this coaching staff, this place that's so special that compels everyone to stay?
Yeah, I mean, I think that really speaks to just like the family atmosphere that we have, both on and off the court. We had a good group of young talent last year that, probably didn't see the floor as much as they would have wished, but just being able to see like how they can make an impact moving forward, and like the coach is really investing in that, I think is like speaks volumes, and it has like caused everyone to want to stay and keep playing for our staff. So.
One of the things I thought was so interesting, Shimmy, was last year when you looked at their roster, no one really played more than 20 minutes. No one really played less than 8 minutes. Like, everybody got in the game. What was it like last year being on a team where it wasn't like, oh, there's 7 of us that play, and then there's 5 that are kind of hanging out? Everybody was involved.
Yeah, I mean, every night, like, we never knew whose big night it was going to be, and I think that was super exciting for us. We had a lot of weapons, and just different talent that could be utilized in different games. So, yeah, it was really exciting, and, yeah, I was glad to be a part of it.
Resurgence, so to speak, of the Ducks. Had a great run last year, went to the NCAA tournament for the first time in a few years, had that tough loss to Duke in the second round. How do you follow up this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just looking to build off that success, and just I think that starts in the Big Ten. We were able to experience a lot of really good talent in competition during our season, and I think that will set us up for success later in March.
You have a head coach who, as we just heard, is a good time. He's high energy. He's fun. Give me a story about Kelly that stands out to you, whether it's a practice you've been at, whether it's something in the recruiting process. What stands out about a story about Kelly?
Ooh, I mean, there's a lot. He's a really big jokester. He loves his dad jokes at the end of practice. Last year, he celebrated a 3 that Elisa Mevius made by like slamming his hand on the table. And then the next day in practice, he pranked us and pretended that he broke his hand, and he had a fake x-ray and everything. And our trainer came in, and we believed it for a second. And then we realized it was a joke. So
it's pretty good. Yeah. He's a good time.
I think that just comes across with the staff as well. Kelly brings in so many good people, and like we have such a good environment. Our practice is always so much fun, and they make me want to go to practice, make me want to be there, and it's great to be around that environment.
They make me want to go to practice, said no student athlete ever.
No, yeah, it's so much fun just to be around. Not like if we're having a bad day or we're having a iffy day, like the energy that the coaches bring to help us through these practices is so much more intense than anything I've ever been a part of.
Mia, Sophia, thanks for your time. Good luck this season.
Thank you. Thank you.
Big Ten Women's Basketball Media Day continues with a team on the rise, the Washington Huskies. Tina Langley's group coming off the program's first NCAA tournament berth since 2017. She's got a balanced roster of vets, transfers with Big Ten experience, and another top 15 freshman class featuring the highest rated recruit in program history in Bryn McGoy. So much to talk about, including a beautiful new practice facility. It is a good time to be a Husky. Year 5 for Coach Langley as she joins us on set. Coach, it is great to see you. It's hard for me to believe that it's year 5 for you at Washington. It seems like just yesterday you were taking over this program. But let's start there, because you're 4 years in, and it feels like every year you have been able to build this thing into what you want. You've been able to keep your players. How do you feel like the foundation of what you're building in Seattle is coming to fruition?
Yes, everything's about the people, and so I'm so grateful for the young people that have joined our program, the things that they've brought to us, our coaching staff. Just really grateful for this group of people.
Tina, the one thing that I think is interesting is when you took the program over and the roster that you had, it was a defensive-oriented team, and you won games, with Nancy Mulkey and with defense. And then last year, you could see as you build this program, last year you led the Big Ten in three-point percentage, three-point makes, and you became a more offensive-powered team. Tell me about that switch and how it evolved for you.
Yes, well, I hope we stay a defensive team too, but we have really enjoyed evolving as an offensive team. We love to play fast. I think the type of game that we want to play is up-tempo and have a lot more positionless opportunities for our student athletes, as we have a lot of young women who want to play professionally, and so it's been fun to see the game kind of evolve as we've chosen the players to join us.
Well, and I look at your team of how you can spread teams out like you did last year, and you can knock off anybody when you can shoot the ball like you can between Savia Sellers and Hannah Steins, Elle Ladine, who averaged 19 points a game this year. You bring in Avery Howell from USC, who is a shooter and had a great offseason with Team Canada. Who's the best shooter in practice? How many do you have?
Well, that's a competition every day, and that's what we love. We love to compete, and so they make each other better. And that's one of the things I really love about these young women is they want their teammates to do well, and they know that competing at the highest level every day helps each other be the best they can be.
Coach, it's a competition to retain talent in this day and age. I think that's become so much of a part of coaches' jobs that maybe fans don't even understand what goes into it. You are one of 3 teams in the country that did not lose any of your players to the portal. You have done such a good job of not only bringing in great talent, but keeping them in Seattle. I know you said it's all about the players and the people, but what does that actually look like? What is the key to being able to build something where people really want to stick around and stay?
Yeah, our program is very committed to helping each individual become who they want to be, to really accomplish their dreams. And when our student athletes choose to come to Washington, they know that they're a part of that process for each other. And so I think that the student athletes who are currently there have really invested in one another, invested in the dreams that each of them has, and then obviously collectively in the goals we have as a program.
And I would say the one thing that jumps out to me when I go around practices around the nation, your players love playing for you, and they really respect you. And I know it's hard. You do not like to talk about yourself, but your goal as a coach, you're a mentor, your degree is in psychology and like helping these young women, it's becoming who they can be. How have you seen that evolve, and how in the year 2025 with so many changes in collegiate sports, is this something that you still have had such success with? How have you done that?
I think it's just a great gift to be able to learn from one another. I think I'm not done learning, and they're teaching me too. And I think that we partnered in this building process together, whether it be a practice or a game or however we spend time together. When we come back around, we look at how have we grown, where have we improved, where do we need to improve, and this group is really committed to habits of excellence. And so when you have people around you that are driven toward excellence, it makes you better. So I'm incredibly grateful for who they are.
And I know busting through to make the NCAA tournament last year for the first time since 2017 with Kelsey Plum, that was a big moment for you and for the program and for the players' confidence. And you add Bryn McGoy, who's the McDonald's All-American, as I mentioned, Avery Howell from USC. You add more pieces to a team. You lost Delia Daniels, but you have so much more talent still here on your roster. When you look at this roster and you think about how good you can be and what excites you the most, what do you think?
I'm always just excited to see growth, and we've seen that, and we want to celebrate where we've come from and where we're going, and then identify the areas that we can improve in and be hungry to improve in those areas. And when you look back at previous seasons, those are over, and this is a new season and a clean slate. And so we get to see where are we in practice right now, what do we need to improve on. We have some gifts. We have some areas that we want to see us continue to get better at, and we're committed to that together.
Bring in so much talent, and I will say as we thank you and say goodbye and let you move on with your day, do you think Elise Woodward would have made your team? Do you think that she would have had a chance to play?
There's no doubt. She's tough as nails.
Yeah. She did bring the toughness off the bench.
Yeah.
Elise, Elise is our favorite Husky here.
Yes, she is.
She's the best. All right, Coach, thank you so much. It's great
Thank
to see
you
you.
both. Very
Best
grateful.
of luck, year 5 for Tina Langley and the Washington Huskies as we continue this conversation with the team in Seattle. Second year in the Big Ten. You look at the schedule coming up, 2 road games against a couple of former Pac-12 foes in Utah and Stanford, and that game against the Utes kicks off a stretch where they will play 5 of 7 games against teams that made the NCAA tournament a year ago. A lot to look forward to this season. Let's check in with Coach Langley's backcourt stars, Mike and Shimmy, standing by, guys.
That's right. We've got Savia Sellers and Elle Ladine here with us on our set. And Savia, I want to start with you. Your productivity got so good last year. You took such a jump forward last season from the year before. How come?
Well, I think first, like this summer, like we put in a lot of work as a team on skill development and stuff. So it was a lot of work off season, but then it was just came with experience. Like I was in the system for a year. I was the point guard, and so coming into year 2, I was a lot more confident in my offense and just knowing the system better. So I think that helped a lot playing my freshman year.
And Elle, similar one for you. I mean, the numbers are obvious. You went from 6 points a game to then 11 points a game to then 17 points per game last year. Why?
Well, honestly, the people around us, we have such a good player development coaching staff, and so every off season has just been 6 months of us just in the gym working and watching film, going over things over and over again with coaches. So having 3 off seasons at UW has really helped grow my game.
Elle, you were a part of Coach Langley's first recruiting class at UW, and none of you guys left.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? That is so rare. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I think, honestly, all the girls came for the right reasons. We have a great, like I said before, coaching staff who knows how to recruit girls with good intentions, good hearts, coming because they love basketball, they love family-oriented places, and so we all come from good families, good places, good people, and so I think that's why we're staying, because we know we love each other, genuinely.
What part of your game has grown the most? I want each of you to do that, but you start off, Elle.
Man, I would say my change of pace has been something that has jumped a lot from high school, even from freshman year. I mean, I still got to work on it, but just in the past 3 years, it's improved a lot, so yeah.
Jump from year 1 to 2, is that what you're asking?
What specific part of your game do you feel like you worked on the most and it got better?
I would probably say looking for like a scoring read. I would say like just looking to score more, finding opportunities to score, and then just being a better point guard and just helping out my teammates has grown a lot.
You're from Alaska, and you wouldn't think that Alaska is a hotbed of hoops, but it actually is. A lot of really good ballers come from that state. What makes Alaska so special?
I mean, I love Alaska. There has been quite a bit of hoopers that came out of there, but I would say like the support system around basketball is really big, especially like growing up. Like you kind of know who's going to be good already, and then the support that comes around it is really special. So I'm glad I'm a part of it.
Are there a lot of outdoor basketball courts in Alaska? Probably not.
Honestly, there is. They're just not in use in the wintertime.
They get a long chunk of the year when they're not used.
Yeah, 100%.
Let me ask you about a couple of your teammates. What makes Hannah Steins so valuable to this team?
Man, Hannah is like a secret silent assassin. She is like very poised and calm, but on the defensive end, you'll see her be aggressive. She knows how to stop a human from scoring. So I would say she's just a good balance and like a perfect combination of calm and aggressive that we need on our team.
100%. I would say, well, Hannah's also a point guard. So she has a very high IQ. Like, she tells me what she sees. She's not like a vocal leader, but she's very smart and will come up to me and be like, hey, like, I see this or I do that. And then she's also like, she can score. Like, Hannah is very like sneaky, I would say. Yeah. Like, the game's over, I'm looking at the box score, and Hannah has like a silent 17 or 18 points. Exactly. So she brings a lot of just experience. So yeah, I love playing with Hannah. Yeah.
Savia, Elle, we both think you're going to do some trouble this year. You guys are going to be a problem for teams. We're looking forward to watching it.
Thank you so much, guys.
Year one in the Big Ten, not too shabby for UCLA. Corey Close and the Bruins putting together a historic season, 34 wins. First Final Four in program history, #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. They beat their crosstown rival in the Big Ten championship game, and the reigning Naismith Defensive Player of the Year, Lauren Betts, is back, and she brought some family with her. Little sis Sienna joins the program as the #2 ranked recruit in the nation. The reigning Naismith National Coach of the Year, Corey Close, joining us on set now as we take a closer look at the Bruins. And I know you lived it, Coach, but watching those highlights and seeing the graphic, like it's amazing what you guys did.
It made me
last
smile.
year.
So I had some fun reliving that just as those came on the screen. But that was last year, so now we just gotta have a lot to look forward to.
You look back at last year, really, with the Final Four, the first time for UCLA in NCAA history. And for you, is there anything about last season that you can look back on and be really proud of? Anything that jumps out to you, either the way you worked with your players or kept them together, or it's such a long season and everybody was giving you the best shot? What were you most proud of?
Well, I think it was, all the firsts that we got to learn from, and I think that we really never did get complacent about that. I think there was lots to learn from and lots of things that, we're going to be able to take from things we didn't do as well that we're going to be able to take into this year. But I think, overcoming spirit, we had all these highs and then had a hard time, a lot of disappointment 8 days later having to come across and win the Big Ten championship. I think that about the spirit of this team. I think about the choices of selflessness when everybody could have had a different night. I think some of those things, it's really the character things that I know that are going to stick with them forever that I really hold on to.
I think Kiki Rice, to me, she's a player that since she was a little freshman, coming over from the Maryland area, she's had a maturity about her. We know, her relations to Condoleezza Rice and just that regal thing about Kiki. Yeah. Coaching her now for 4 years in a row, what do you want people to know about Kiki?
Well, I think Kiki is selfless. And Kiki is incredibly hardworking in a way that has been contagious and as building the character of our program. People comment all the time when they come and watch us from the WNBA that our preparation and work ethic is maybe unmatched in what they've seen. And the reality of that is that's because Kiki Rice set a new standard in our program, and I'll be forever grateful for that.
Well, and you think about Kiki Rice is here. We're going to hear from her in just a moment. But Lauren Betts, the preseason pick to be the Big Ten Player of the Year, the reigning Naismith Defensive National Player of the Year. She is so special. I know it's been a privilege to be able to coach her and teach her. When you think about what her next step is, and now she's got her younger sister who's also on your roster. We'll talk about Sienna in a minute. But what do you see from Lauren?
Lauren is, she's always been sort of a unicorn from a talent perspective. But what she's bringing to us this year is sort of a steadiness of a work ethic, of extra work and leadership that I think even has surprised her, that her consistency in that. I've really coached her hard, and and her and she will say I'm her most annoying person. People
say that about me.
I'm very consistent in that role. But at the end of summer, I thought it said so much about her that she actually thanked me for holding the standard, and that's not really a reflection on me. That's a reflection on her, and I just really appreciate that perspective in her, and I think it's having a huge trickle down effect for the rest of the players. So I just think it's her maturity. It's mostly, it's so easy to see her talents. I mean, there's so few people who can do what she can do. But where we will go is really about the other things.
Well, and her little sister's the #2 ranked player in America. Now, sometimes sisters get along and sometimes they don't. So are they more like, she's under my wing, or is it more like, come on, sister, bring it on?
Both. And I can tell you the more cantankerous one is Sienna. And, Sienna has, I knew she was funny. I didn't know she was this funny. She's hilarious. She is really good at imitations. So if anyone wants to do that, it's a little scary that I'm telling you this because she's really good at imitating me. But there's a strength that Sienna has that's really unmatched. We do the Enneagram, which is a personality test, and if you know anything about the Enneagram, it's an 8 is the challenger, and Sienna is an 8, and she just challenges every situation, and she's not afraid of that. And I always tell her, like, yes, I'm going to ask you to have boundaries on that sometimes, but I never want to push that down. We need that. And I think that's why their relationship has been sometimes really difficult, but I actually think it's leading to a new level of appreciation for each other as well.
You have so many talented players returning, and yet there's one who I have loved, and she can flat out shoot the rock, and that's Gianna Neepkins. 50, 40, 90 at Utah nearly, and she's just an incredible player. I think she's a next-level player. What has she added to your room? Because in the fourth quarter, she's a player at Utah that took over in the fourth quarter. You love adding somebody like that.
Well, it's not only her takeover kind of mentality, but the way in which she fits in our puzzle. She lengthens out all those passing lanes, the double teams. You know, I've watched over and over again our Final Four loss. And one of the challenges, we didn't shoot it consistently enough or deep enough so that they could still double the post and close out and chase someone off the line sometimes. And they rushed our shooters, and we couldn't burn them on their double team. Well, Neepkins changes the game with that. You know, Charlize Ledger-Walker also changes the game with that too. But, you know, the space, even when I was studying film on the way here to yesterday, I was just noticing how much better our spacing is, and Gianna Neepkins is a big part of that.
Coach, we could bring you up here all day long and ask you about, because there are so many different players. You mentioned Charlize. I mean, Angela.
If they can overcome the coaching, they'll be great.
I mean, that's going to be the question this year for the Bruins.
Exactly.
Can they overcome their head coach?
Exactly.
What number are you on the Enneagram, by the way?
I'm a 3, wing 2.
Okay.
Yes.
I need to learn about this.
Yeah, you do.
It's pretty good, and our players are totally into it. So it actually is really
what are you, Ashley?
I'm a 2.
A helper.
A helper.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which I can
to
see
my
that.
own detriment.
Yep.
I know.
Yep.
Why do you think I've lasted this long
Pam
with Elise?
Walker is a helper for us, you know, so it's a good thing.
We will go to break and have Elise take the Enneagram on the
Absolutely.
during break. Corey Close, it is awesome to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for all you do to grow our game. It's going to be a great year in the Big Ten.
It certainly is, and you are picked to win the Big Ten, the stacked league that it is. Much more to come here on the Bruins. We're going to check in with the players in just a moment as we take a look at some of the notable games. And Corey said the non-conference slate can be a great test to see what you're made of. I don't know that I've seen a schedule that looks quite like this. You set up shop in Vegas in November, North Carolina in the WBCA Challenge, Texas, and then either South Carolina or Duke in the Players Era Women's Championship. I mean, that's like basically an NCAA tournament in the first month of the season.
And you didn't even mention Oklahoma on November 10th.
There you go. See, this is why I'm glad you're here. Mike and Christy are with Lauren Betts and Kiki Rice, guys.
Thank you, Ashley, and it's pretty cool to be with two of the best players in the country, in Kiki and Lauren. And I want to start with you on this, Lauren. It's outrageous to me that we have a potential National Player of the Year sitting next to me, and my first question's about a different member of your family. Okay, so Sienna comes in, one of the top recruits in the country. Has she ever beat you one-on-one?
Okay, we have not played. Actually, no, we did. We had a Queen of the Court session, our entire team, and I did beat her one-on-one. But the thing is about her and I is, like, our personalities, we can't take it seriously, so we're just laughing the entire time. But, like, in all seriousness, she's very talented, so I have to give her credit.
So, because she's really younger, you know, you have the advantage and everything. But can she beat you in Uno, hide and seek? Like what?
She can beat me in anything artistic. She's very artistic. She's a really good painter, and she doesn't tell a lot of people. She's really good at that. But everything else, I feel like I have the, upper on her. So.
Well, I have a great one for the DMV's own Kiki Rice, number one. When you look at this year's team, and to hear Corey Close say that the culture has been based upon how you individually approach the game, what does that make you think, and how does that make you feel to know that Corey Close feels that way about you?
Yeah, it's fantastic that, Coach Corey has so much trust in me, but I really got to give a lot of credit to my teammates and this entire staff. I feel, empowered by everyone around me to consistently lead and just kind of be an example for everyone in this program. And it's really an exciting opportunity that we have this year. We have a really veteran group, and, I take a lot of pride in helping lead us and get to where we want to get to.
And Lauren, what's different about this season's team, and what have you seen so far in practices and the philosophy and the culture carrying through?
Yeah, I think it's like that veteran leadership. We just have such a maturity about our team, and we come in every single day and you don't have to question anybody's work ethic. Everybody comes in and they want to get better and they want to do whatever they can to help the team succeed, and I just love it. I think it just brings out a different like excitement in every single day, and I love showing up every single day knowing that I'm working with the best of the best.
The roster is outrageously talented. I mean, it's just remarkable to have this much talent on one roster. So does that mean your roles are different at all? Like, is there anything that you're thinking, my role's going to be a little changed this year? You can both answer, but let me start with you, Lauren.
I don't know. I think this year my biggest role is just being very vocal and kind of like that leadership aspect. I feel like playing-wise, it's always kind of going to be the same, but I feel like coming in, I'm just making sure that I'm using my voice a lot more consistently and saying the hard things, and I think that's something that I've learned from last year is just making sure that like when we hit those tough moments, when, you know, seasons up and down, just making sure that, you know, when tough things need to be said in order to bring the team together, that I'm going to do it.
The reason I ask is because I could see a world where a coach, and you would know this as a coach, might say, hey, two of my stars, I might play you less this year. I might ask you to shoot less this year because we added this, and this. Have you had conversations like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's honestly the best thing about this group is that how willing we are to just do what's best for the team. And we have a really, really selfless mindset as a whole and are really focused on being present and just continuing to get better every day. So you see that in practice and you feel that there's no one that's pressing to get shots, upset about, you know, a play wasn't run for them or anything. It's just we have a really great mindset about how can we be selfless and be for each other.
And with that being said, right, as a core value that you want to carry through this season, what is it going to take to sustain that? I mean, it was 34 wins last year. It's a new season, though, and that was a great experience, but it's a new day. And what is it going to take for the team to manifest that and carry it forward every single possession of every day?
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, it's a new day, it's a new team, and it's a new season. So we'll learn a lot of important lessons from last year, but honestly, the most important thing for us is just going to be how can we stay focused on each day, each practice? How can we use each opportunity to get better and, you know, maximize our, our potential in the moment?
What was the locker room like after the Final Four loss to UConn? What do you remember from that?
I mean, Kiki and I were waiting outside for a long time before we had to go into that press conference, so we didn't really get to be in the locker room. But obviously just, you know, very upsetting. You know, you get like 24 hours and you get to be upset, and then you kind of have to just like, you know, move on. And I think that we learned a lot from that day. It wasn't easy, but I feel like it's just motivated us going into this next preseason, you know, on how much better we want to be from that. And I think I've just seen a lot of growth in all the girls. So.
Last one for you. I say Gianna Neepkins. You say...
Shooter.
Deadly.
Okay.
Yeah. Looking forward to that weapon added to this great roster. Ladies, thanks so much.
Thank you so
it's going to be a
much.
blast watching you guys play
Thank
all season long.
Defending Big Ten regular season champions, the USC Trojans, coming off their second straight Elite Eight appearance and a program record tying 31 wins. Lindsay Gottlieb reloading with the nation's #1 recruit yet again in Jazzy Davidson, and of course the headline story, reigning National Player of the Year, Juju Watkins, will miss this season as she recovers from an ACL injury. The head coach joining us on set to talk about the challenges and opportunities ahead. Lindsay Gottlieb, it is always great to see you, and I haven't seen you since the news about Juju came out, so let's obviously start there. How is she doing as a human being? How is she handling everything right now?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you asking that. She is a human first. She's handling everything with the grace and strength with which she sort of approaches everything in her life, and I couldn't be more proud of her. She's really poured into our team this summer and fall, and I think announcing that she's not going to play this year allows her to focus on the team, on her own rehab. She's at it multiple times a day, and I know that we'll all look back at some point and say, you know, this moment in her life, which is hard in a lot of ways, is going to make her stronger. It's going to make her better. And so we just want to be there for her as much as she's there for us all the time.
There's so many great players that have had significant injuries. Brianna Stewart, Sue Bird, Kelsey Plum. And you go through these great players that have missed a season. They always say that year allowed me to see the game differently. How has Juju approached it? Is she more like a coach? Is she more like a player, like supporter? Is she even around? Because sometimes it's really hard. Like, How has she approached this?
She's around all the time, and I think that's really important. It's important for her because basketball is her love. This team is her family.
Yeah.
But it's important for us, too, because it's one thing to lose her presence on the court, but we don't want to lose her presence as a leader, as a human. And so, yes, she is around. Mostly, I think she's making a concerted effort to be even more extroverted and pour into teammates and be present as a leader. And then, I've had her in the office and say, okay, what do you need from me? Should we be watching film all the time? Should we, do you want to talk about practice? And I think I'll navigate the year with her based on how seeing what I think she needs from me to get the most out of the year for sure. And I do think actually, as many of the ways you can talk about her with her accolades and being the National Player of the Year and a generational talent, I think it's actually reflective of what she's done for this program already, as a 19, 20-year-old, that our expectations remain the same, that what we're trying to do with USC basketball remains the same. Nobody's going to replace her. There is no other Juju Watkins, but she has helped to build something, and I think that doesn't get said enough because she's in the midst of her career. But she's helped to build a program that we still expect to go out and win games and fight for championships, even when she can't be on the court with us. And I think that should be talked about, just the impact she's had on the program nationally and in our locker room.
Well, and one of the players who I loved her all last year was Kennedy Smith.
Yep.
And I think she made her mark as a defender last year, and the court tilts towards Juju. Well, the court is going to be a little more even now, and more players are going to get shots and things like that. And I love Kennedy Smith. Tell me about her development. She battled a knee injury last year, toughed it out, was one of the best defenders in the conference, especially for a freshman. What's her path like here in year 2 at SC?
So you and I both love Kennedy Smith.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page, Coach.
She's just a winning player.
Yeah.
So there's no question the defense jumps out, right? She's probably the best individual defender I've been around in my career. But last year she was invaluable for us in so many ways. The defense jumped off the page, but we had a hard time when she wasn't in the game. We had a hard time when she was out for a couple games, and so we relied on her. Now that role will grow, that role will shift. I think she's going to take on more of a leadership role. You'll see that she can really score, but she's also a facilitator. I think she's going to be part of an offense that's really dynamic, and it might be a little bit more, okay, tonight's your night, tonight's my night, but I think she can get a bucket, she can create a bucket, and there's no question on the defensive end. I mean, I'm going to start saying it now. If there's a better defender in the country, I'm not sure who that would be because she's really, really good.
Well, she won a gold medal this summer. The other player you brought here with you won a gold medal this summer in Jazzy Davidson. And you look at, obviously, the #1 recruit in the nation. You know she can do a lot. You look at her stat sheet, and you're like, what doesn't she do? I mean, she facilitates, she scores, she plays defense. Tell us about what she brings and what you expect from her freshman year.
Yeah, I went on the USA Basketball World Tour this summer and, hiked the Andes in Chile to go see Ken, and then obviously went to the Czech Republic to see Jazzy.
That's a pretty good perk for your job.
It's not that bad. It was a little quick, a lot of flying, but Jazzy is really, really elite. I mean, she's just a special talent. But between the two of them on the wings defensively, I don't know. We're talking about 6, 7 steals a game here. I don't know. But Jazzy can facilitate. She can go be an alpha and go get a bucket, but she can also just play and flow. She kind of glides on the court, makes things easier for other players. I think if people don't know her name, when the ball tips for the 25-26 season, they will very quickly. I think she really just is going to be impactful from day one in a way that, forget rankings, it's just in a way that those of us who know basketball, only some freshmen can do that, and I think she's really going to do that.
Well, you have to rework this team now. And so how have you done it? When you were at Cal and you made the tournament year after year after year, I felt like you had different styles.
Yep.
What is now with this personnel? Are you guys up tempo, or what is the style for SC this year?
Yeah, I mean, our starting front court was in the W this summer.
Yes.
Kiki was an all-star. Rayo was on the Connecticut Sun. We were really proud of them, and the National Player of the Year, like we talked about, is going to be on the side. So it's interesting. It challenges all of us to say, okay, if the schedule is going to be just as tough, and if our goals remain the same, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? Spent some time at some WNBA training camps this summer. Watched the Mercury a ton. I think we'll be able to be a little bit more versatile in terms of actually being positionless. We won't necessarily have 20 and 10 walking in the door in the front court, but collectively, I think we can get a lot of our players stepping up with their athleticism and their ability to run the floor and rebound and get production there. I think we'll have multiple ball handlers and people able to score on the perimeter in a number of different ways. Between Jazzy and Ken, we added a couple key transfers with Carolyn and London Jones, and a lot of new faces in the front court, either young players who didn't have the opportunity to play as much last year, or new players that we brought in. So I think versatility, pace will be our calling card for sure.
Well, I had to do a double take when I saw your non-conference schedule. I was like, is this for real? In the span of like a month and 5 weeks, maybe, you NC State, South Carolina, Notre Dame, and UConn. So I think you're going to know the kind of team that you have out of the gate before you even get to Big Ten play.
Last year, that Notre Dame game that you dropped at home, I thought was so key for you guys, because after that, you guys really, I thought collectively, you got everybody to come together. And the hard schedule's tough, but what does it do for you?
Yeah, I mean, so just taking the Notre Dame series and the UConn series, like we signed on to those 3 years ago for the next 2 years, right? And yeah, in my mind, I'm kind of always thinking forward. I'm thinking, okay, it's Juju's junior year, it's Kennedy's sophomore year. Who are you bringing in? But when you're trying to build a program, you want to put the toughest teams on your schedule. You want to create home and homes that your fans are excited about, that the media is excited about. And you're right, that Notre Dame game probably made us a lot better than if we had beaten, somebody else by 30, that day in November. And then I think we were ready to go into UConn later on and get that win, which, helped us in a different way. So, the UConn and Notre Dame series are the back end of a home and home. So we'll go to Notre Dame, we'll have UConn to us. We wanted to, do this really cool kind of 2-year thing with South Carolina called the Real SC. We had an opportunity to play early against NC State, who ends up picking up a huge transfer late. So, bring it on. If we're trying to be, when I took the job, we wanted to turn USC into the premier women's basketball program in the country. And I say that with a lot of humility. You're trying to catch these other programs and eventually be in that area. Well, you got to play them. And you got to try to beat them, or you got to learn from where you need to get to. And that's the type of schedule our players want. That's what our community wants. And ultimately, those are the standards that we want to rise to and surpass, and trying to get where we want to go.
Bring it on. I love it. Coach, it is great to catch up with you. Please give Juju our best.
I sure will.
We're looking forward to watching how this team comes together this year. So many talented pieces. Looking forward to seeing how it all unfolds. Thanks for the time.
Thanks. Great to see you both.
Yeah, you too.
As we take a look at some of the notable games we just mentioned, their non-conference slate is absolutely no joke. Another one I kind of got circled on my calendar there, December 21st, a nostalgic trip to the Bay Area to face your former program in Cal and your longtime friend and colleague, Sharman Smith. All right, Kennedy Smith and Jazzy Davidson are hanging out with Mike and Christy, guys.
I mean, we are loaded up on talent here, Ashley. Glad to have a star sophomore and a star freshman with us. And I don't want to belabor the point on Juju, right? But I do want to ask one off the bat. When she's no longer on the roster, Kennedy, how does that change your role? How will you be a different player this upcoming season?
Yeah, I feel like coming in last year, there was a lot of, leaders and veterans. I think this year my role has increased in the leadership aspect. Last year I could, not talk in practice and it'd be okay because we have TVO and Rhea. And I think this year I have to consistently work on, communicating with a lot of new faces and obviously Jazzy as a freshman. So coming in, being more consistent, and also, consistently having, my defense and consistently bring offense as well.
And Jazzy, your coach did a good job of starting to introduce you to people. But let me ask you this. Last year you won the Gatorade Player of the Year. The year before, you won the Gatorade Player of the Year in your state. The year before that, you won the Gatorade Player of the Year. And the year before that, you won the Gatorade Player of the Year. How is that possible?
I don't know. I'm just super grateful. I feel like that's kind of a testament to the people that I had around me in Oregon. So yeah, I had a really great supporting cast at Clackamas and coaches, and yeah.
And Jazzy, I've known you for a little bit here. I had some work with you over the summer several seasons ago. But what have you learned over the course of time, like the 4-time Gatorade Player of the Year and all of the high school experience with USA Basketball? How are you going to leverage that experience in your rookie season here?
I've gotten to play for a lot of great coaches with USA Basketball and with a lot of great players, and those experiences have definitely shaped me and matured me into the player I am today. So just being able to make plays on both ends of the floor, communicate with teammates, and yeah, I'm really excited for the season.
And Kennedy, you earned big minutes last year as a freshman. What did you learn most about yourself in terms of the competitive maturity piece, and how are you going to leverage that moving into your sophomore year?
Yeah, I feel like I learned just to stay level-headed throughout the whole process. I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs throughout the season. It's a long process, but just staying level-headed throughout the whole thing and really leaning on teammates. I feel like we're Delulu in the locker room in all the right ways. I know
talking about winning, talking about holding each other accountable. So that's stuff that I really, aspire. So just, having that aspect and leadership role this year has something that I've kind of taken upon.
We were teasing off air about defense, Jazzy, but put it in your own words. How important is defense to your game?
It's super important to my game. I mean, I consider myself a two-way player, so just being able to make plays on both sides of the ball is super important.
Where do you want to grow this year, your first year in college?
Really everywhere. I'm super excited, and I feel really lucky to be surrounded by teammates that have kind of had experience in the college game for a bit. But yeah, I'm just super excited to learn from them and grow.
Learning by committee is going to be at the top of the list for the team, especially without Juju Watkins on the floor and Kiki Iriafen for that matter as well. What do you feel the personality of this team will be with the versatile pieces that are going to be in the chess box to play chess with this year?
Yeah, I feel like everybody on this team this year is very open-minded, very aware of where we are this year. So just coming in and, having that level-headed mental grind that we had from last year, bringing in the pieces that we had, I'm just super excited to see what we can do this year.
Jazzy, last chance to give any dirt on what Christy was like as a coach.
She was great. I loved playing for her. Great coach.
Missed opportunity, Jazzy. Missed opportunity.
We had a vibe. We were a vibe.
Both of you, good luck this season. Thanks for giving
you.
us some of your time.
Thank you.
Well, the arrow is pointing up in Minneapolis. The Gophers coming off a 25-win season, ended with a WBIT championship just a year after reaching the WNIT title game. Head coach Dawn Plitzuweit turns her entire core, including Mara Braun, whose year was cut short a season ago. We'll hear from her and Amaya Battle in just a moment. But first, let's begin with the head coach of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Coach Plitzuweit, thank you so much for making some time. How is your media day going so far?
Yeah, so far so good.
So far so good. All right.
I heard this was a tough.
I was just going to say, now you're sitting next to Elise Woodward.
Pressure on.
So
I'm ready.
all bets are up.
There's a reason why you're furthest away from the coaches.
Only 3 coaches have left crying from the set so far. So
it's allergy. It's allergy season.
You look at who you return. I mean, what a luxury to have so many core members back. And I think about what you guys were able to do last year to end the season. Very few teams get to end the season feeling good and carrying off some hardware from the court. What did that run do for you guys?
Well, it gave us 5 more games to prep and practice for. But I think along that path, we learned so much about how we need to do things better, more consistently. We shot the ball better in the last 4 games of the season in the WBIT. We shot at a 39% clip from the arc, where before that we were below that, about 10 percentage points in the Big Ten season. And so why? And then we look at what did that process look like? And so how do we repeat that process that we can now apply to this year and continue to get better?
Coach, I love your background. You just talk about process, and your background was you didn't think you were going to be a coach, and you went a totally different direction. Tell people about your degree and what you thought you were going to be doing when you were 22 years old.
Well, when I was 22, I thought I was going to be a high school teacher, either a math teacher or a biology teacher. And so I love the analytics of the game. I love to use the analytics to help teach our players about the game because that's a lot of fun for me. And there is a process when you're looking at equations in either math or biology, so basketball shouldn't be that much different. And then coaching, I did think I was going to be a coach, but I thought I'd be a 6th grade coach. Very specific, I know. But then now this happened, and about 3 decades later, still loving it and having a great time.
You've never had a losing season in your career. That's incredible, the consistency for you to do that. What do you point to as the reason why you can make the most out of every roster year after year?
Well, I think it comes down to our pillars, really, and our building blocks within our program of toughness. And people think toughness is just defense and defensive grit and get on the floor and take charges. And while it is those things, it's also doing little things really well. We qualify that in our toughness category, and for us that means you're continuing to get better all the time. Then there's the togetherness piece. Figure if you're going to be tough and you're going to play together, good things can happen. And then the third component is find a way. And a lot of times, especially, and we've had this the last 2 seasons at Minnesota with injuries hitting us at a very high level, then we've had to find a way to do things that maybe differently than we have in the past.
I think what you just said about the togetherness is, I think, something to, and you've said that this is special sauce of this group right now. It already feels like is the togetherness. There's been a lot of talented teams that haven't gone on to do what they've wanted to do because they are missing that element. So how do you as a coach, and Elise talks about what you've been able to do at all these different stops, you never had a losing season, how do you build togetherness within a squad?
Well, we're very specific about how we do it on the basketball court, how tightly we huddle, and if we don't huddle tightly enough, we go practice it again, to how we encourage each other and what that looks looks like and writing notes to each other and building each other up on the court. But then we're also very, very intentional in doing it together off the court, whether that's lake days and putting them on the inner tubes or letting them fish or whatever the case is, or through all of our community service activities together, but book studies that we do together. So it's very, very important to us. We don't just hope that it happens. We certainly are very specific in the type of young ladies that we recruit, but at the same time, we want them to continue to grow that. And this group has that at a very, very high level. They trust each other. They love each other. They trust each other. And because of that, they can now hold each other accountable, which I think people think that that's a negative thing. But the reality is you've got to trust each other in the game. And when you can say communicate all you want, but sometimes you just have to kind of know this player is going to go make a play at this point in time. So I've got to be prepared to back her up in a different way.
You took Minnesota to the top 25 last year, and that was despite missing Mara Braun. And she played 5 games for you and was putting up great numbers. And then all of a sudden you lose one of your best scorers, but you still had such a successful season. She's back.
Yes.
Woo! That's all I got to say. Take it away,
right.
Coach, because she is such a difference maker for you. Like, you go from being a good team to now what with Mara back?
Well, with Mara, I think what this team now has a challenge to do is to figure out how to play together, because we have a lot of players who have played in different ways and maybe played a lot of minutes and now can play harder in shorter spurts. So I thought last year we had games where we had very good minutes. We just couldn't sustain those minutes long enough. Our consistency wasn't where it needed to be, but we had some young ladies that were playing an awful lot of minutes. And so now we have, and I think for us, it's not just players returning, but the players that have returned for us have gotten significantly better. Their skill has really grown, their understanding has grown, and they're continuing to play harder and more together.
Well, and Amaya Battle, one of the other player that you brought here today, where have you seen her progress?
Well, Amaya Battle is someone who definitely, you talk about togetherness and you talk about fun, that's what this team has. And Amaya is a very, very key component in bringing that onto the court at all times. I think she plays with great, great joy and energy. At the same time, I think she is someone that we can now use this year in different ways. So in the past, she's had to have the ball in her hands a lot and handle it a lot, where sometimes when you get it off a pass, you can attack in a totally different way. And so this year, I think we have the flexibility to use her. We learned a little bit of that in the WBIT. Really, in our home game against Gonzaga, she had to really defend inside. We're like, well, that didn't work, that's Amaya. And all of a sudden, I was like, well, that's a really good strategy. We should try that more often. And so it allows us to play her this year, I think, in a little different capacity than we have in the past.
Well, Coach, I just want to say there are countless 6th graders out there who are not as good at math because of the decision that you took, but there are a lot of amazing young women who have gotten to develop because of the path that you chose.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
It's great to visit with you and look forward to watching the Golden Gophers this year. Thanks for the time as we take a look at some of the non-conference and conference matchups that Minnesota has coming up. A fun schedule ahead. November matchups with Marquette and Kansas. Thanksgiving in the Bahamas for the Pink Flamingo Championship. Elisa's volunteered to tag along as the water girl in case you need one. At home, it's a great slate, too. The top 5 teams from the Big Ten last year all coming to the barn. So Gopher fans, get your tickets and your popcorn ready. Mike and Shimmy, always ready with Mara Braun and Amaya Battle. Guys.
We sure are, Ashley. Thanks. Glad to have Amaya and Mara here with us. And if I wanted to tick you off, I'd start off with a question about your injury, but I'm not going to do that. I do want to know, Shimmy and I talk all the time about the changing landscape of college basketball, but society as well. We worry about mental health, which is a good thing. What did you learn through the process on how to handle being stuck on the sidelines? You did nothing wrong, but you had to deal with it. What did you learn about that?
It was hard. I mean, I think, unfortunately, it's a common thing that you go through an injury in sport. And so I think the main thing for me was just relying on my teammates, the people close to me. I mean, lucky for me, I was 30 minutes from home. So going through both surgeries, I was at home with my parents helping me through that. And so I'm just so thankful to have the culture we do and the people we do that you can really rely on those people. I think that's the only way really through it.
And Amaya, you guys had to deal with not having the heartbeat of your team all season long. And you found a way at the end of the year to really gain momentum. You make it to the WBIT and you win it. What was that like at the end of the year?
It was really fun. I mean, we came together after we really wanted to make the tournament, didn't get an opportunity, but we still got another opportunity to keep playing, which we were super grateful for. And we came together and we're like, if we're here, we're going to win it. And I think it showed a lot of toughness. I mean, we had to win, 5 games in a row to do that, and only one of them were at home. So I think we showed a lot of toughness and resilience. And like you said, we gained a lot of momentum that we can bring into this year.
So speaking of this year, so we have a WNIT championship appearance as sophomores, WBIT championship as a junior. Is it safe to say senior year, redshirt junior year, NCAA or bust?
I mean, yeah, we want to be playing our best basketball around that time. So yeah.
I want to know something because you two have known each other for a long time. Tell me something about her that I don't know, and you tell me something about her that I don't know.
Oh boy. Mara's really funny in like a weird way. Like sometimes she just does weird things.
Like
I
what?
can't describe it. No, I can't describe it. It's just like, I don't know, just something I can't.
If you can't describe it, that's just a random insult.
No,
I mean, we need a
is, like-
specific example.
Like the team knows what I'm talking about. I don't know. Come back to me. I'll give you a specific one. I'll give you a specific one.
Well, I'd say for her, I'm going to be nice, and I'm going to say she's a really good photographer, I think, especially these past 3-4 years. Just I feel like her outlook on life and just being in the precious present was what we talk about with Coach P, but I think it really is true for her, and just making sure she's always where her feet are, especially she's gone through a lot that a young person it's hard to do, and I think her outlook on life now is just really cool to watch.
You guys, no.
Oh, you got it?
I got it.
No, please.
So to change it, I feel like a lot of the times you see Mara on the court and she's super intense, super into it, or like in an interview setting, she's really like professional, put together. But I guess what I meant is like off the court, she's a really like fun and loose person to be around as well. That's that's a better way to put it. There we go.
How close you guys are, it's obvious just sitting here and watching you two interact together. You guys came in together. And we don't know what you'll do after this year or, what you'll decide to do, but you're still here 4 years later. What's the significance of that?
We love it here. I mean, Minnesota's where we grew up, and it's the university we wanted to come and play, obviously wanting to come play under Coach Way, and then things happen, and I mean, I think everything happened for a reason, but just us four deciding that we figured it was best for ourselves, our families, and just the program to stay and work through it, and we did. And I think this year is really going to show everything we had been through and how it's all going to come together.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think in just today's age, like you can kind of move around, bounce around, but we had a core four that really stuck together. And like she said, like we love it here. We committed here because we wanted to turn the program around, and here we are, continue to do that. And I think we're starting to see some success from that, from our WBAT championship.
You've had some good bonding, too. You go to the cottage for Coach Plitz, right? Not that far away. Who's the best and worst tuber on the team?
Tori's the best tuber.
Weird fact, she's a really good tuber. Like
Yeah.
I think she actually went tubing for 2 hours straight and fell off once maybe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave it at that. Yeah. It's a weird fact, but
Maya, thanks for your time.
Have
a great season.
Thank you.
Along here at Big Ten Women's Basketball Media Day. And next up, we're taking a look at Nebraska coming off the third NCAA tournament appearance in 4 years. Head coach Amy Williams will need to replace that double-double machine that was Alexis Markowski, but she's got plenty of big-time talent back, as well as 4 incoming transfers ready to make an impact. You're number 10 leading her alma mater, Nebraska head coach Amy Williams. Joining us now on the set. Coach, it is great to see you. It sounds like your 15-year-old is your fashion stylist, and she's done a great job. We'll start with that.
Yes, thank you, Bentley. She always helps with that.
It's important to have a 15-year-old who can help us. There's no doubt about that. Coach, before we look ahead, because there's so many wonderful pieces, and I'm excited to talk about your team, but looking back at last year, you had some injuries that could have derailed the entire season, and yet instead you win 21 games, and you were able to pull things together. What did you learn from last year as you kind of look back and reflect?
Well, I just felt like those 2 individuals that went down with season-ending injuries, just what an inspiration they were for our team and our culture, because the way that the young women rallied around them and just found ways to want to honor them with their play, pretty special. And I think the way that they inspired the rest of our team to just keep raising the bar and finding ways shows a lot about our team's culture and the way that they're player-led and the way they play for each other.
One of those players was Natalie Potts, who was averaging almost 15 points per game. She only got to play 5 games. She was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year, and then she goes down so early. Tell us where she is now back healthy, and what can we expect?
Yeah, I mean, Natalie has not returned to practice just yet, but I could not be more proud of the way that she's approached her rehabilitation. She just is a hard worker in everything she does, and just continues to stay relentless. And the way she's grown just with her IQ and thrown herself into being better at ball handling and shooting and all the things that you can control and get better at through the process until she is fully cleared to be out there with us. You know, she just is going to max out, and she's been an outstanding teammate. We could put together a highlight reel of her celebrations on the sideline at practice, just the way she's thrown herself into this team and helping our new transfers and our one freshman really adjust to things. Just a really special young lady.
Well, and I love watching Britt Prince last year. You talk about being able to handle the ball and shoot it from wherever. She had such a moxie and a sense of confidence on the floor last year as a freshman. I know it's not a surprise. She played like that in high school as well. But how has she been the catalyst for your team with just that confidence?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of say a little bit of the quiet assassin. She's more competitive than probably anybody I've ever been around, even though that may not be apparent to everybody because she's so even keel with her emotions, and she does have kind of that quiet confidence about her, but just a competitor. And trust me, it doesn't matter what drill it is, who she's competing against, which male practice player or our GA, you know, she's keeping track of one-on-one competitions, and she is really competitive.
I love that. I mean, and competitive depth, I think, is so important for any team. You look at Alexis Markowski and what she was able to do for your program, and such a special player for so many years. What does it look like in terms of a leadership standpoint? There's a void when somebody like that leaves. Who has stepped up and filled in that void?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, Lex has her name all over our record book, our all-time leading rebounder. We all know that we're going to have to contribute as a team to help try to make up for her loss, but it's her energy, and you know, I've said all along, Lex superpower, just she had a strong belief in her abilities, but her ability to make everybody around her believe, and so some of that leadership, the energy that she just brought to practice every day, that was really going to be important, that we found new people to step in and lead in a positive way. I think Kaylene Hake is really leading the way in that realm. She's a fourth-year senior that just has a lot of pride in leadership. She's our Student Athlete Advisory Committee president. She's representing the Big Ten Conference at a high level. She just is just got great leadership skills that she's really brought into the team and is really helping kind of take that void.
The game has evolved into a 3-point game, and I know last year you guys had 10 different games with double-digit made threes. You guys were undefeated in those games. From a coaching standpoint, how do you develop those shooters? Is there something specific, because your players clearly have freedom to shoot it and feel good to shoot it?
Yeah, I mean, we recruit to that. You know, it's something we recruit to. I can't, you know, take all the credit. They come to us as really confident and good shooters, but I really believe that it's our emphasis on getting quality paint touches that helps create quality 3-point attempts for our team, and our players work really hard at it. They all get practice and confidence poured into them that they're capable from behind the arc, and then they've all found ways to step up, and there's not a single player on our roster that you could point to that's like, you know, 0 for 0 from the 3-point line or just doesn't have range from there. It's something that we work hard to develop within our program.
Coach, it's great to visit with you. Thanks for spending some time. Enjoy the rest of Media Day. And can I get Bentley's phone number? Does she have
hey, if she's going to have you shining before you know.
It doesn't shine, it's not mine. Is that is that right?
That's
I got it
mantra
down?
for
All right.
sure.
Coach Amy Williams, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Looking forward to watching this squad as the conversation around Nebraska continues, taking a look at some of the notable games. 13 games against NCAA tournament teams from a year ago, and starting mid-November with Creighton. That'll be the first of 4 straight matchups against teams that played in the postseason last year. The Big Ten home opener comes against USC in February. As you can see, it's a full-on gauntlet. You know they're ready for it. Mike and Shimmy standing by with Britt Prince and Kaylene Hake. Guys.
A sophomore and a senior, respectively. Ashley, we're glad to have them join our show right now. Britt, let me start with you. You came in as a highly sought-after recruit. How would you summarize your first year playing college ball?
I think it was amazing. Just being able to get that experience under my belt, play alongside my teammates, and just like get a feel of what it's like to play college basketball. It was just a super fun experience.
What was something that was challenging that you're like, oh, this took me a while to kind of figure out?
I think just adjusting to the pace and the physicality probably took a couple of games for me to be fully confident and comfortable playing against bigger and stronger girls, but eventually it all worked out.
Kaylin, this is your first year in a Husker uniform without the big girl in the middle, Alexis Markowski, who provided so much leadership to this program. So is this an area where you're going to have to step up as a leader?
Yeah, absolutely. Losing Lex is a big gap to fill. Understanding like all our leadership styles are different. So I'm not going to be Lex, but I'm going to be Kaylin, and I'm going to be consistent in bringing those leadership qualities that I'm best at, and just being the best teammate I can be and best leader I can be for this team.
What's Kaylin leadership look like?
I think Kaylin leadership knows that I'm going to love you and I'm going to serve you to the best of my ability, whether that's being vocal, showing up for you, just being so present, being in the moment, and understanding no day we can take for granted.
You take notes on that? You could use some of that
Yeah,
when
that was
our
good. That
relationship
was-
together. I mean, I could use some of that leadership
I'll
skill from
follow
you.
up with you.
Okay.
Kaylin, you started almost every game last year. It was a big step forward. Where did you feel you grew the most?
I feel like I grew the most in my defensive ability to impact the ball on the defensive side. I take a lot of pride in kind of just being our quarterback for our defense and being a vocal leader on that side of the ball. And specifically, I know when my defense goes, my offense goes with it. And so I'm just looking forward to making even more strides in this last year.
Britt, I know you are a hometown hero. You did something that was pretty special this summer back in Elkhorn. You put on a camp for the little kids, and all I can picture are these little mini Brits running around with flowing hair and headbands. What was that like to have your own clinic?
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot to me to be able to give back to the community. And like, I was like those little girls when I was younger, looking up to the older players and wanting to be like them. So it's super special to be able to give back to them and give them an opportunity to learn some new skills and stuff like that.
Were there a lot of mini Brits?
There's a few, yeah.
Give me each of you an example of a player that's going to surprise people this year. Someone that you're in practice, you're like, they're going to do stuff this year.
I would probably say Haley Weaver. She's, I mean, after taking a year off last year and transferring over to Nebraska, I think like she's already gained a lot of confidence throughout the however many weeks it's been with us. But she's a really great defender, and I expect her to make a lot of noise on that side of the ball, especially.
I would say Petra Bojan. As we talked about, we really miss Lex's presence, but she's just done such a great job of stepping into that role, being herself, and finishing at a high clip. And so I'm just super excited that she had the opportunity to learn from Lex for 1 year, and now she kind of gets to blossom into her own player.
Kaylin, Britt, look forward to watching you all season long. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you, guys.
Well, the Iowa Hawkeyes are locked and loaded for year 2 under Jan Jensen, coming off their 7th straight NCAA tournament appearance, 9th consecutive 20-win season. The Hawks remain one of the Big Ten's most consistent programs. They were the only Big Ten team to beat USC in the regular season last year. Lucy Olson's off to the pros, but Hannah Stuelke and Kylie Feuerbeck returned to lead a young group featuring 9 underclassmen. Jan Jensen won the Maggie Dixon Rookie Coach of the Year award in her first season. And Coach, it is great to see you. I know the first time you do anything, it is very difficult, to include even just like coming here to Media Day. So year 2, how different does it feel?
You know, I think the big word for me is I'm much more comfortable. And that doesn't necessarily mean more confident in everything, but just more comfortable. I'm more comfortable in the chair, more comfortable in what is expected of me, more comfortable in what's going to happen in big wins or tough losses. So that feels a little bit better than it did a year ago sitting here.
You know, there was a point last year where you had an excruciating stretch where you had 4 games where you lost by 3 points or less. And yet I called that game, and the thing that struck me in year 1 was that you weren't panicked. You were completely positive. You went through practice. I was like, wow, either she's not feeling this pressure right now or she's the most confident person I know. How did you deal with that, looking back on that? It was a turning point in your season, and after that, you guys just shot to the top.
You know, even though I got a rookie year the whatever coach thing, which is funny. The pool couldn't have been that big. But, you know, I'd been through a few years. And you kind of know makeups of teams. And I always felt that team was so much closer than it ever was farther. It was a free throw. It was a possession. It was a missed assignment. And you know your makeup of a team and you know how much they want it. And I think when you know that, you're trying to strike the right tone. So instead of losing your mind, you need to keep just making sure that they don't lose their confidence. And so, you know, at nights it was a little tough, maybe, behind closed doors. I had a great staff. But I think overall, I mean, hey, you usually don't go through a season without adversity, and it's usually adversity that defines you. You know, we don't usually grow when we're winning all the time.
True.
You know, you just don't. You wish you would, right?
Well, and I think for you, the challenge wasn't just taking over for Lisa Bluter, who's a legend. It was also the challenge of Kaylene Clark is a phenomenon. She's not here at Iowa. So it was so many different factors. Does it feel maybe more calm now? Like more, it's truly maybe time to move forward?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to say it. You know, it was so great to be part of that ride. And Lisa is one of my best friends, and forever grateful for all the times we spent together along with Jenny Fitzgerald. We coached together all those years. And then Caitlin, I mean, her orbit continues to just, you know, do crazy things. Even when she had a tough season of being injured, she still moves needles, right? So there was a lot in that. But I felt like I was really blessed. You know, I have a strong faith, and it was just another challenge in a career of challenges and of rewards and blessings and tough times. But I do think that comfortability now is, you know, every year you're farther removed, it becomes about more the here and now. We can always forever be grateful for everything that Caitlin and Kate Martin and Gabby Marshall and company did. But now, you know, the focus is on this season and on this team, and I think that feels a little bit more comfortable too.
Well, let's talk about the here and now and what you have on this team. You've always been known as a great recruiter. You've got a lot of underclassmen on this roster. So what are, as you look around and you've kind of seen things start to come together, what excites you most about this group?
You know, I think it's our youth is really, this is the youngest we've been since 2012. And I think there's some other programs that are pretty young in the big. But for me, I mean, 2012 is, you know, it's been a minute. Yeah. And so that, I think, is a reminder that it takes time with young teams. And I'm not saying that to, you know, I don't know, you know, guard or anything. It just, you can't skip steps. And those of us who have been involved in sport a long time, you know, our freshmen, they have some great talent, but they're still freshmen. And that's one thing I just want everybody to keep in mind. And I think you could say that about all the great freshmen in this league is this game is bigger, faster, stronger. So with that, we've had great improvement since June with my group. But, you know, it's probably going to take us a good portion of this non-con of just to kind of settle in. And I think if we can develop them, I have a great staff, we're working like crazy. If we can get that depth by the time that Big Ten season hits, I think we can really have a great season. But young teams take a lot because you really gotta explain about every drill. Your upperclassmen are trying to do it, but there's a lot of people that are coming in with a lot of different verbiage in their minds of how they used to call a certain screen, how they used to do a drill. So we're definitely challenged, but I love them. They're fun. They're working hard. We're just pretty young.
Well, and one veteran that you can lean on for sure is Hannah Stolke.
Amen.
She is so physical and smart.
And yeah, her IQ is great.
It is.
Yeah.
For people that maybe don't study her game, what's the most impressive part about Hannah and what she gives to your team?
You know, Hannah is just so versatile. I mean, I think the way she can rim run, right? She's really explosive. We've really worked on her outside shot. But I think Hannah's a really pretty player. I think she's fun to watch. You know, she just runs that floor so well. The way she makes a move and then she can power it up and finesse it, I think she's engaging. And I think that's what makes her kind of captivating. But Hannah leads with just how hard she plays. You know, when she plays with that passion. You know, when she gets an and one, there's a lot of passionate players. But Hannah really fires up our team with that.
Yeah.
And that's how she really leads. But this year as a senior, man, she's leaning in a little bit more with her voice. a lot of times your great players, they lead a lot more with their actions. And I've really challenged, and we have over the years, her to use her voice, and she's doing that much, much better. And I'm just so excited about her in this senior year, because she's a kid that grew up 30 miles away, yes. And this has been a lifelong dream, and here we are at the mountaintop.
It's an amazing story. So many great stories on this team. By the way, sold out season tickets for the 3rd straight year is so impressive.
Amazing.
It
I'm
is
so
amazing.
blessed. Our fan base is awesome.
They are, and you are awesome. Thank you so much, Coach, for spending some time
Thanks for all
with
you
us.
do for our game.
No, we appreciate it. Looking forward to watching the Hawkeyes this season as we take a look at some of the notable games coming up. 2 big early tests coming next month in Orlando. The Hawkeyes will face Baylor and Miami in the WBCA Showcase, and then December 20th, a matchup with the defending national champs from UConn in Brooklyn, part of another multi-team tournament. So much to look forward to. Let's head back over to Mike and Christy, who are with the players, guys.
Well, we've got Hannah Stuelke and Kylie Feuerbach with us, a couple of senior leaders on this Hawkeye roster. Hannah, I want to start with a story, and I want you to tell me how much is true and how much is not. Caitlin Clark told me a couple years ago, and maybe she's taking credit for something or maybe she just made it up. She told me she told you to watch Draymond Green play ball and that's what you should model your game after.
Yes.
True?
Yes, that's true. 100% true.
What did you notice in his game that you've taken to yours?
I think the aggression that he plays with is really key for me. She always wanted me to be really aggressive and play with a lot of passion, and I think that he does that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Oh, go ahead. What did you say?
I said I think I do that too.
Yeah, no, absolutely, especially on the glass work. I mean, 8 rebounds a game for you, and that's so invaluable. And you've got to be able to get the possession to be able to push and transition. How vitally important is that going to be for the team for you to continue to be able to do that for the pace of play?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really important. Getting boards is one of the most important things because limiting the other team's possessions and adding to our own with offensive rebounds is really important for us to have the ball.
Kylie, 2 years ago, you didn't start once. Last year, you started every game. What felt different to you? What was the step forward that your game took?
Yeah, one thing about our offense is it just clicks at one point. So over the years, I've had a lot of great leaders to follow, and last year it just worked out where I was able to get into that position and roll and just embrace whatever I needed to do for the team.
What will your role be on this year's team?
Once again, I always like to live by this motto, but doing whatever I need for the team. So whether that's scoring defensively, guarding the best players, and yeah, doing the little things.
And Hannah, you're self-led as a senior. I know that. It doesn't matter if it's high school or on the collegiate level. How has your approach been different as a leader so far in practices?
Yeah, I think just being more vocal, encouraging the girls as much as I can. They look up to me. They look to see me. If I'm down, they're going to be down. So just trying to stay positive and leading by example has been really important for me.
Layla Hayes, a young post player. What have you seen so far?
Yeah, she's been great. She works really hard. She'll go in for extra work, which is really important as a freshman, especially she's going to be playing right away, and that's going to be really exciting seeing her grow every game and just get better.
So if you've got another tall Hawkeye down there, does that mean we're going to see more three-pointers coming from Hannah Stuelke?
Oh, yeah. Draining them.
I love that. And Kylie, who's challenged you the most of all of the newcomers to the program this year? Who's challenged you the most?
Challenged me the most? Oh, I would say on the defensive end, having to guard chit-chat. She's a great player all around, facilitator. She can create in a lot of different ways. And then we got Emily, who's also a transfer, and she's a really strong guard. And then obviously all the freshmen are great too. So all of them push me in their own ways, but yeah, we have great newcomers.
They mentioned this over there with Jan a moment ago, but it's outrageous to think of the fan support that you guys had. The 3rd straight year every game is sold out at home. How do you put into words what it's like playing in front of 14,000 every night?
You can't.
You can't. Yeah, it's just an amazing experience that so many people love us and want to experience being at our games and supporting us. And it's just really exciting that we get to have so many fans and that they love us so much.
Yeah.
What would you say the philosophy of this year's team will be? And it's different every year. So what is that forming into right now?
Yeah, our phrase for the year is "Our next is now." So living in the moment, embracing each other, and treating every day to the best extent that we can. So working hard, lifting each other up, and embracing our culture.
You've both known your head coach, Jan Jensen, for a long, long time. What did you notice in her as the year went along, last year being her first time in the big chair?
Yeah, I think going from assistant to head coach, I think she did a tremendous job. I think at first, obviously, we all have nerves, and it's nerve-wracking getting into a new position and having to be so high up, and I thought she did an amazing job, and she just kept growing throughout the season in that.
What did you learn most from Coach last year in that regard while everyone was kind of learning with her new leadership there?
Yeah, we were, learning in a different way of just how to play with a different coach. And kind of like what Hannah said, it was like a great way to have Coach J kind of step into that role. And it was different, but all kind of similar at the same time. So just embracing it and soaking in what she was telling us in a different format than what Coach Bluer had said.
And it's probably weird because you're like proud of her as you watch her grow into a role in the same way she's proud of you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting spot to be in. Hey, thanks so much for your time. Have a great season coming up.
Thank you. And so much to get to. We're not done yet, everyone. Elise Woodward, I'm looking at you. Fighting Illini
I'm ready. What do you got?
are coming up. Their second NCAA tournament appearance in the last 3 seasons. A lot to replace, obviously, in terms of veteran talent, including the top 3 scorers from a year ago. But Shauna Green has some big-time talent coming in. The 7th-ranked recruiting class in the nation. 5 freshmen highlighted by the 5-star guard Destiny Jackson, the youngest team in the Big Ten, 3rd youngest in the nation. It is year 4 for Shauna Green, the head coach, joining us on set now. It is great to see you, Coach. Thanks so much for spending some time. How has Media Day been treating you so far?
It's been great. I can't believe we're back here again already. It's gone by fast, but so happy to be here and ready to get this season going.
Time does go by faster as you get older, is what I have found.
Yes, it does.
You have so much.
Old?
No, only the person on this side of the set. When I think about, probably you do feel old when you think about the team that you have, because you have so much youth, which I'm sure is energizing, and also trying to, coach them up and get them to all play together in the style and the way that you want. So just tell us how this offseason has come together.
Yeah, it really is. We're the 3rd youngest team in the country, and obviously the youngest team in the Big Ten, but super talented, super hungry. I love this team. Like, they bring so much energy. They're so coachable. They all want to be great, and they're hungry, but they don't know what they don't know, and we're still, we just got to get experience. So literally every day, every moment, every possession, I'm learning more about them individually and collectively, but just a great group to be around.
I always think that when you're a freshman, you're not only kind of nervous about like how you're fitting into the program and like your first impression and how you fit in, but it's learning how to do a drill. You're learning everything. It's like, wait, where do I go? What am I doing? And you're constantly thinking instead of just playing. How have you worked with this young group to just relax?
Yes.
We're going to be okay. How have you done that?
And that's exactly what's going on. They're overthinking everything. So when you put in a new drill, it doesn't look good right away. So I've had to learn, and I have to, actually yesterday I'm like, okay, I have to do some things different. I have to teach this a different way. They're not understanding this concept, so what am I going to do to make them understand it? That's my job. So it's good for me too. I'm growing. I'm constantly having to evaluate how I'm doing stuff daily, so I can get better, because I got to help them. I got to help them grasp these concepts quicker and better, so we can continue to progress as a team.
What do you think? Every team takes on the personality of their coach, so there's going to be similarities with your veteran team last year and this group of youngsters. But for you, the style of this team, what have you found out about what you think your strengths will be with this young group yet?
What I love about this team is our versatility. We're finally longer. For our first 3 years, we were one of the shortest, smallest teams probably in the country, especially in the Big Ten. So we're long, we're versatile. A lot of players can do a lot of things. We have a big skill set within all of our individuals. And we're actually, again, knock on wood, if we can stay healthy, we're the deepest team we've had in our 3 years here. So still a lot of unknowns in terms of who's going to play where and who's going to play together, and all of those combination stuff that I'm constantly trying to figure out daily. But love the versatility, the length, and the depth of this team.
Barry Wallace, one of the players that you brought with you today, started 6 games a season ago. I feel like when you look at how she continues to develop and what you want to see from her as she takes the next step this year, and probably even the leadership role as well. Tell us about Barry.
Yeah, I mean, what a great experience Barry had last year. She was a major impact player for us as a freshman, and she was in some big games, big moments, made big-time plays in big games, and we went to her, It drew up multiple plays for her to get shots, and she hit them in Maryland, Indiana, NCAA tournament games where there were dagger shots she hit. So knew she's going to have to take on more of a leadership role this year. And I'm really, really proud of how she's accepted that and really attacked it. She's been super intentional this summer on growing and getting better and being more vocal. So really love where she's at there. And then just her overall game. Like, she knows now she's going to be at the top of a scouting report. And she can score at all 3 levels. We can put her in a lot of different action. She's so efficient around in the paint. I mean, probably the most efficient player I've ever coached when she gets 2 feet in the paint. So, and she can shoot the 3 at a high level.
Yeah, she shot 41% as a freshman last year. That was the highest in the league for freshmen.
Yes.
From deep. You mentioned the leadership role for her, so she just went through being a freshman. And so she's got that, like, oh, I know what it's like.
Yeah.
How has she helped, even though she's only a sophomore, she's still an underclassman, but how has she helped all the new faces? Because I don't care if you're a transfer or a freshman, you still are brand new to Illinois and learning how you want things done.
It really is. And, we have a transfer from Villanova, Maddie Weber, who's a junior, but she's still a freshman in our system. So I think actually, I've looked at the positive of Barry being young and being a main leader for us, because she just came from that. Last year, some of our 5th-year seniors, they don't really remember what it felt like to be a freshman. Barry knows what it was like to be a freshman, and she was in it, and she got to experience so much. So I think that's actually really helped her being able to lead a lot of these, 5 true freshmen that we have, along with our transfers. Because it's fresh for her, and she's done a great job with doing that in her own way. I always want our players, be you, lead in your own way. None of them are in-your-face, screaming type leaders, but they're going to get the message across in an authentic way.
A quick thought before we go and hear from your players, and Gretchen Dolan, the other player that you brought with you today. What does a healthy Gretchen Dolan do to this squad?
Oh, she's critical. Obviously, she was playing at a high level before she went out last year, so it's very unfortunate. But I think she's learned so much from being on the sideline, right? You guys know when you have an injury, you see the game in a different way. She was so engaged in her time off the court last year that I think she grew as a player. I think she grew as a leader. And, she's a 3-level scorer that has really, she's so good at using her body and again, finishing with contact inside. I think she's well beyond her years in that. She can shoot the 3 at a high level. She's a scorer. I say you don't average 40-some, 30-some points, whatever she averaged in high school, without being someone that just knows how to put the ball in the basket. So we need her. We need those 2 to play at a high level for us. The ball's going to be in their hands a lot. They're going to get a lot of shots. So should be a lot of fun.
You always love those kids. They're like, give me the ball.
Yeah, that was Elise Woodward, by the way.
No,
all the time. Coach, great spending some time with you. Thank you so much, and best of luck this season.
Thank you so much.
All right, as we take a look at some of the notable games coming up for this squad. Yes, here we have it. Oregon State, November 14th. We know how much Scott Rueck has built that program up over the years. At Florida State 9 days later, so coast to coast. Big Ten opener is December 6th at home against the Hoosiers. It will all be here before we know it. Let's kick it over to Mike and Christy, who are with Barry and Gretchen. Guys.
That's right. Gretchen Dolan, the junior. Barry Wallace, the sophomore, joining us over here. Barry, I want to start with you because the Gretchen injury happens. Myra Cook goes down as well. How did you guys prevent that from dampening your spirit and ruining the season? You guys still ended up making it to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I think we just kept the main thing. We just knew that there's nothing you can do about certain adversity that hits, but we just focused on what we knew we could focus on, and we just kept that the biggest thing. We just knew that we could work as hard as we could and just come out and play every game the best that we could.
And Gretchen, you were the one who had to go through the injury and not having to play. I met Bill Cartwright this summer, who won 3 titles with Michael Jordan, and he was their big man. And he told me early on in his career, he hurt his right hand. He couldn't use it for 6 months, so he dribbled with his left every day. The rest of his career, he was better dribbling with his left hand and shooting with his left hand than his right. So he took this injury and found a positive that helped him the rest of his career. What did you learn? How did you grow while you were injured this past year?
Yeah, it was definitely a long journey and not a situation that I would necessarily want to be in, but I tried to just look at it like a blessing in disguise and still learn about the game in different ways. I was still watching film with my position coach, and I was able to just see the game from a different perspective on the sideline, which I think has really helped me being back out there now.
Coach Green said that you, Barry, were probably the most efficient player and most effective player in the painted area. Now opponents also know that coming into your second season. What kind of approach are you coming into this season with in terms of making those counter moves?
I would say just continuing to take what the defense gives me. You know, people are going to start guarding your game once they start to learn your game more and more. So just continuing to work on my skill set as well, just like expanding my game and learning new moves, working with my coaches to just keep doing new things. But yeah, just knowing that like there's always going to be something that's open. They can't defend everything, you know. So just working on those counter moves and expanding my game.
Right, and Gretchen, just understanding. Obviously, you're healthy, but understanding what you do bring to the table, how has that felt so far in terms of the philosophy of this year's team with all the new pieces that are on the court?
Yeah, it's felt great just to be back on the court and with the returners along with all the new people. They've just have brought such a great energy so far, and like all are so willing to learn and be so receptive to new information. So it's been a lot of fun just gaining the chemistry with them and being on the floor with them.
Gretchen, how deep of a 3 are you comfortable shooting?
I would say it's changed a little bit since I got to college. In high school, I was pretty comfortable wherever on the high school court. I think now I'm getting that range back and being more comfortable in shooting those deeper threes. So, yeah.
How deep is your coach?
That's what I was going to say. That's exactly my question.
I think maybe as I start to take more in practice and if I make them, she'll become more confident in me.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I used to coach, so yeah, if it goes in, that's a great shot, baby. Yeah. But going to this season for you, and having earned all that time last year on the court as a freshman, how is that as a leader, right? Because you were on the court last year under Shauna Green, a lot of new pieces this year. How are you going to utilize your voice in that way without feeling like you're stepping on toes because you're only in your second season?
Yeah, I think just like as one of the only returners for our team, just knowing that like experience that I was able to have last year just gives me confidence that I can just give that advice to any of our new players or people that just came into our team. So I think just like remembering what we had last year and even like the leaders that poured into me last year from our team, I think has helped me a lot so far, even in the preseason, just like using what they gave me and things that they taught me throughout our time playing together, and then using that to help my teammates too.
Absolutely.
Barry, Gretchen, have a great year. Thanks for giving us some of your time.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Their head
Back on Big Ten Basketball Media Days, a new era beginning in Madison as Robin Pinchton takes over as head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers. She comes to Madison after 15 seasons at Missouri, guiding the Tigers to 4 NCAA tournament appearances, and she's got 8 newcomers, 2 freshmen, 6 transfers. Coach Pinchton ready to hit the ground running. Coach joins us on set. Great to meet you. Welcome to Media Day. Welcome to the Big Ten. So far, how's the experience been going?
It's been fantastic. Feel really, really blessed to be a part of this, and a lot of new faces here too. But just have so much respect for this league. I mean, there's some tremendous coaches, some incredible student athletes, and a long history here. So proud to be a part of it.
Well, you had 15 years at Missouri in the SEC, but here you are. You're like a freshman again. You're the only first-year head coach in the Big Ten, Robin, even though you're a veteran. What's it like to be like rubbing shoulders with 17 other new coaches that you got to battle with?
You know what? I love it that you said that, because most people want to age you about how long you've been around, and you just
there
made
you
me
go.
feel really young. So I like you guys already. No, it's been good. I mean, when you've been blessed to be in this business for a while, there's a lot of familiar faces. as a lot of coaches that I have coached against, and I'm from the Midwest originally. I'm from Iowa, and so it seems really familiar territory to me, and I feel really comfortable and excited about being a part of it.
I think you just went Iowa just right there to really accentuate that you're from there, right? Did that just pop out?
Midwest,
the
Midwest
accent. You know, I saw a video of you when you took over the job at Wisconsin and you walked in to the offices in the Kohl Center, and it was like, wow, the appreciation for the opportunity at Wisconsin. It's a beautiful university, and for you, what was that moment like of walking into a place that is such a great place to be?
Yeah, you know, it's I don't know if I can really put it into words, but I'll try. So just feel really blessed to be here. You know, I think God works in mysterious ways. And, you know, when I met with our administration, I was really impressed with not only their heart posture and who they were as people, but what their vision was and how they felt like we could help change the trajectory of Wisconsin women's basketball. And so really like-minded in regards to those things. And obviously they have beautiful facilities. The academics at Wisconsin are off the charts. Being on the Isthmus, the two lakes, like just everything's so beautiful. But I'm a big believer that the people make the place, and I've been really, really impressed with the people of Wisconsin, the administration, the community, and just blessed to be a part of it.
Madison is a true gem. There's no question. It'll feel a little bit different in February probably than it does right now.
I'm from the Midwest.
There you go.
So
Welcome home.
Good.
You're
Yeah.
back. You know how that goes. I think when people are trying to get to know, you know, what does a Robin Pinchton team looks like? What is the first culture install when you are taking over a new program, which you haven't done in a long time? You've been at the same place for a while. So what were those first 1, 2, 3 steps as you try and put your mark on this place?
Yeah, you know, I'm not going to lie. It was like drinking out of a fire hydrant. And it's just, you know, with the portal season and knowing how many players we had to add to our roster, you know, it was really busy. But, you know, I think it's really important that just like when you're building a house, that foundational piece is so important. And so we really invested a lot of time into that after we had built our roster, in the time that we spent together as a team of just really trying to build that connectivity and the alignment in regards to our staff and in the locker room and in our administration and what that was going to look like. And so building be really fun. It's like putting together a puzzle. It's like all these different pieces, but it's fun and every day is new and different. But, you know, like I said, I think the people make the place. The connectivity is so important, how you show up for people, building trust one day at a time. And it's gone by so fast the first couple months, but we're having a lot of fun. And I'm really proud of this group that we have in the locker room and to see how they've come together in such a short period of time. Again, took the first week that we were here together in June, and all we did was a team retreat and just really spent time together and getting to know each other, which that's valuable time for a coach because you want to be X's and O's and skill development, but I think it's so important you keep first things first, and those are the relationships and building trust.
And it's nice as a coach because as a coach, you want to have experience at your point guard. It's the coach on the floor, and Ronnie Porter definitely comes with experience. She's going to be a fourth-year starter out Wisconsin. Tell me about her and how she's helped the newcomers onto your squad get comfortable.
Yeah, you know, but for Ronnie too, it's a little bit different.
Sure.
You know, just a brand new coaching
system.
staff
Yeah.
and a new system and building those relationships. So I think she'd probably tell you, you know, on one hand, she feels like a senior, but maybe not like the typical senior. But so proud of her. I mean, her story is phenomenal, isn't it? Starting off as a walk-on, and then to see her to where she's at today and what she's been able to do in such a tough league on a big stage. But, you know, we're just going to constantly try and squeeze more out of her. Her skill set is obviously elite. From a leadership standpoint, we want to continue to challenge her to continue to grow in that space and be more vocal. You know, just that connector, that quarterback on the court. You know, what's the action between the action? How are you interacting with your teammates? So it's not just focused on you and you delivering, but how are you impacting the team in those situations too. But she is so fun to have on our roster. Just an incredible young lady. really excited to go be a part of her journey.
I don't know if you could come with a better compliment than that. Just that she is so fun to have on the roster for all the different things that means. Destiny Howell is also here. Can you just give us a thought before we head over and hear from the players?
Absolutely.
On what you learned from her?
Destiny's been phenomenal too. Funny story, when I first got on the phone with her, we had an amazing conversation. She said, Coach Pete, what is a girl from Queens, New York going to do in Madison, Wisconsin? I said, have you ever been to Madison? What do you think? She's like, cornfields, right? And I was like, let me just send you some pictures real quick of Madison. And she's like, no way, I would never have thought. But again, just a young lady that's had great success. She's a winner, really talented player. Like, she's going to be a special treat for people to see. 3-level score, high basketball IQ, and just another young lady that has so much insight, mature beyond her years. And I just love the way she carries herself. She's going to be an incredible ambassador for our university.
I love it. Well, looking forward to hearing from them. Thank you so much for the time. Welcome back home to the Midwest. It's
Thank
good
you
to
very
have
much.
you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Looking forward to seeing what the Wisconsin Badgers can put on the floor in year one under Robin Finchton as we take a look at some of the games they've got coming up. They'll head to Marquette for an in-state rivalry game against a team that made the NCAA tournament last year. Later in the month, another tournament team in Ole Miss down in Daytona Beach for Thanksgiving weekend. And first ever road trip to USC and UCLA on the calendar in February. For more on the Badgers, let's send it back over to Mike and Shimmy, who are with Destiny Howell and Ronnie Porter. Guys.
That's right. A couple of seniors on this Badger roster joining us. And let me start, Destiny, with what your coach was just saying. When you were considering coming to Madison, you assumed there were cornfields in the middle of Madison, Wisconsin, right?
I did, yes.
Okay. How did she convince you that there weren't and that you wanted to come spend your next year here?
So she actually sent me pictures because I just wasn't convinced. I didn't really know what was in the Midwest. I didn't know what the Midwest had to offer. To me, tumbleweeds, cornfields, nothing. So she sent me pictures, and I got to see what the city of Madison was really like. And I was like, oh, okay, it's a city for sure. So, yeah.
You hadn't been out much outside of the little area then, huh?
Not in the Midwest. Not in the Midwest.
There's a lot to offer here, for sure. Ronnie, why did you choose to stay here with a brand new head coach?
Honestly, it's home. It's been home for the past 3 years. And one thing is, like, it was hard to let go. Going on to other schools, seeing other schools, it just didn't give me what Madison was giving me. And then the initial conversation I had with Coach P, I don't think the conversation I had with her would have changed anybody's mind to want to leave regardless. Like, the conversation was just so great. My mind was made. I was ready to stay home. And
why was it so great? What was it about it?
She wanted to know about me. Like, she didn't care about anything about basketball. She wanted to know me as a person, what my goals are, like, for the future, and where I see myself, not only in basketball uniform. And that was just something really important to me.
Well, I am not Coach P. I only care about your basketball. So what I want to know is we know that you're a great playmaker, and that's how you have made a great career at Wisconsin, is distributing to your teammates, finding your teammates. What about your game has really grown heading into your senior year?
I feel like more aggression to score the ball. I feel like last year I did take a step back in that, and I feel like this year there's no need for that this year. Just go get mine. But also the people that are surrounded around me now, I got shooters. I got great posts. Like, I'm really excited to see what we bring this year because I'm, like, just really excited to play with everybody that we got now, and it's looking really good.
Destiny, Coach P is just, emphatically praising your game as a 3-level scorer. You were not just the MEAC Player of the Year, you were HBCU National Player of the Year. What is your games going to translate to the Big Ten?
I just think the fact that, I have experience. I'm on the older side. I'm a grad student. I've been around the game for a long time, and bringing that experience to, a fairly young team and being able to have that insight as well as, my 3-level scoring ability. I think being a playmaker, too, is something that, I'll definitely throw in there. Being able to create for others and just that ability to win. Like, I'm a winner.
Describe the style of play this year's Badger team will have.
Fast, flow, nothing robotic, just playing our game and knowing everybody's strengths and playing to that.
I lied. I do care about more than just on the court. I heard that there's a man in your life. His name is Bucky.
Oh, yeah.
What is up with you and Bucky the Badger?
You know, we like this. That's my dog. We best friends. Since freshman year, we've been tight, and we created a little slime thing every time we see each other. So now every time I see Bucky, that's how we introduce each other. And we just got a great relationship, and nobody knows who they are. And I can probably say I may or may not do. So
That's a budding romance. We're going to follow that all season long. How do you describe a Coach Pinched in practice? What's it like?
Everything that she does is very intentional. Like, I don't feel like there's any meaningless drills. She's very, very intense when she does talk, but she doesn't say too much too often. So you want to listen when she does talk, and you want to be all ears, and you want to be dialed in to what she has to say and the improvements that she wants us to make. And I just think that she pours into everybody the same way that she wants us to pour into each other. She's a leader, and that's somebody who we want to follow, undeniably.
Destiny and Ronnie, thanks for your time. Have a great season up there, Matt. No tumbleweeds. No tumbleweeds. We promise you, there's going to be none of those around Madison.
No, sir.
Thanks, ladies.
Yes, thank you for having us.
From
Big Ten Women's Basketball Media Day rolling along, and one final team to check in with, the team with the shortest commute for Media Days, Northwestern. It must have been.
Good planning.
We're such good planners here. Big storyline, of course, entering the 18th and final season with Joe McEwen at the helm. The longest tenured and all-time winningest coach in program history has announced that he will retire at the end of the year. He's joining us on set. I mean, to talk about what I'm sure is an interesting time, because you're gearing up for a season, but you're also knowing that it's kind of its senior year on some level of one final lap. 777 career wins. And I know we're going to talk about this team this year, but just for you coming into this, knowing that it is your last year after doing it for so long, what are the emotions?
Yeah, it's very, it's very up and down every day. But I think the good thing is, as we're starting practice, you're starting to get ready for your season. You put everything on the back burner, and we're just, getting mad at practice, trying to, put our team together. And so, I think you're just coaching genes take over.
And I would say for a coach, the one thing, it's like of all the professions that you do, you develop relationships where you are literally life changers, and you've got players for decades, that are calling you for all kinds of advice throughout your life. If there's something that you take pride in now is like, okay, I got one last go at this season that you've been able to impart upon all of your players. What is that, Coach?
Well, I think the biggest thing, is you have to compete, and you got to compete the whole time. And you got to be resilient. We always talk about resiliency because, in the Big Ten, you're going to have great, we went 16-2 and won it. And then, you lose a couple games and your team, looks at you like you're supposed to have answers for us. And you got to be resilient and just bounce back the next day or whatever. So they're the things that we focus on. Last year, we had to rebuild for the first time since I took the job in 2008. And, I think we're back now, and I can see it in their eyes. So we talked to this team a lot about, being resilient and playing with a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, tell us about the new faces, new team, new season for you. What has stood out to you during the preseason part of the schedule to make you believe that you guys can, be an improved roster?
Yeah, I like our roster. We got 2 grad transfers. Nobody leaves Northwestern, so we don't have to fill a lot of spots every year. But we brought in 2 grad transfers that I think are going to make a big impact. Tate, who came from Furman, just a tremendous. We have a great player, Veronica Burton, who was just named the most outstanding player, most improved player in the league and in the W, and she reminds me of Veronica a little bit. And then Deja came from TCU, who had a great team last year, got to the Final 8, and she brings that. If you're going to play in March, you got to bring it, in September and October too. So I think those guys are going to help us. Grace and Casey that are here today, I think are they're primed to have big years. So knock on wood, we'll stay healthy.
I want to ask about one of your other newcomers in Sammy White, who played the last 4 seasons on the Northwestern lacrosse team and knows what winning at a high level looks like, obviously. What does she bring? How did that story come together?
She got more rings than I do, and I've won 20. I've been in 20 NCAA tournaments, I think, and championships. So Sammy is she's amazing, and just really proud of her. She was a really good high school basketball player in Maryland. So I think that's really how this kind of transpired. And then, I'm a big lacrosse fan of our program, with great coaches. And they said, Sammy might want to play this year. So she came to practice in the spring, kind of watch workouts, and she's like, Coach, I want to do this. And, you know, got here this summer, and she said, Coach, I got a problem. I'm like, Sammy, what's the problem, man? Come on, we're going to go. She's like, I just made the USA national team, and I got to go to China or somewhere for training camp.
Those are nice problems to have, by the way.
I said, all right, well, let us know when you get back. You know?
Yeah.
We're kind of blending lacrosse basketball world together. But she's amazing. And again, like we talked about, you know, being in the locker room and, you know, you walk in there with 3 national championships, you know, you understand you're and you've been a Northwestern student athlete, you know, you're able, you know, it resonates and you have a big voice, even though you've never scored a bucket yet.
Yeah.
So appreciate you asking about her.
Yeah, well, she's going to bring the toughness factor from lacrosse, that's for sure. And you mentioned a player that was so tough this year in the WNBA, and Veronica Burton with the Golden State Valkyries winning the Most Improved Player Award. I know that has got to mean a lot to you to have one of your former players from Northwestern who was so good defensively for you, 3-time Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, and now to go to the W and be one of the best players for her squad. What does that mean to you to watch her develop like that?
You know, she was just back. We had homecoming weekend at Northwestern, so she came in and got a chance to spend some time with her. She's amazing, and she's the most humble, great player that you ever want to be around. And she just she survived, you know, the ups and downs of pro basketball because she was drafted in the first round and then, you know, got let go, got picked up, and, you know, the Golden State has been a, you know, godsend for her, and she loves her teammates. I went out to a game and every game sold out, and, you know, the atmosphere is amazing.
I will say I live in the Bay Area, and it has been phenomenal to see what the community was starved for a WNBA team, and it's been amazing to watch that take over. You mentioned Grace Sullivan and Casey Harder, who are here with you today. What do they bring to the mix in terms of experience, and where do you want to see them go this year?
You know, Grace, I think, is that stretch four that can run the floor, can play inside out. You know, she had big games for us last year, but it was her first year in the system, you know, and that's a big challenge for every coach now to try, you know, to get. We're lucky we have her 2 years instead of 1, and I think she's killed in practice every day. She's expanded her game. You know, can step outside. You know, I think just going to be a hard matchup for everybody. Casey is that glue player behind the scenes that you don't know. Kind of like we talked about Veronica defensively. We always put Casey on. She hadn't had to guard Caitlin Clark because Caitlin left, but you know, Veronica guarded her for 4 years, but Casey has that. You know, she has that. I want the challenge. I'm going to guard their best player, and so that not everybody walks in the gym thinking that way.
So with the senior class, are you kind of like we're all going out together, we're all doing one final run, or how are you working this, Coach?
Yeah, we, you know, we're still trying to figure that part out, you know, and I think they all. I'm proud of them, and for this reason, when we decided that back in March or April that this was going to be the last year. You know, they all had opportunities to leave, and you know, Grace, Casey, all those guys. Caroline Lau is a really talented, was really highly recruited, and they all said, "I want to come back to Northwestern and play for you." So that means a lot.
Yeah. As it should. Well, enjoy every moment and stop along the way. I'm sure that you will. And it's kind of cool. Your final non-conference game is at George Washington, a place that you coached for 19 seasons. So a cool full circle moment there, Coach.
Yeah, we're excited about that. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Well, we're excited to watch your team this year. Thanks for spending some time with us as you take a look at the notable games for Northwestern. They head to Fort Myers, Florida for Thanksgiving, facing Missouri in that tip-off tournament. The Big Ten opener in early December is against Ohio State. For more on the Wildcats, let's go to Mike and Shimmy, who are with the players, guys.
We've got Grace Sullivan and Casey Harder here, Ashley. You heard Coach McEwen talking about both of them. Let me ask both of you, how did you find out that this was going to be Joe's final year?
Yeah, you know, it was over break, and we had all gotten on a Zoom call, and he broke the news to us, and I think it was just this collective, you know, bittersweet moment all around, you know, when he announced that this was it, basically, like this was the last year. You could kind of feel, even though it was on a Zoom, this overall sense of like congratulatory feelings, and it was just great vibes, even though it is sad, you know, it's his final year in college basketball, but yeah.
Yeah, she nailed it. I mean, it's just super bittersweet overall, but we're super excited for this last year with him. Can't wait for it.
What do you remember about when he recruited you? What is the first thing that comes to mind?
I would say when he recruited me, he immediately made the Philly connection. Him being from Philly, I'm from outside of Philly. Immediately he went off of that and basically made that connection. Also used Veronica Burton as an example, who's a great Wildcat legend to look up to and see all of her success. So those were some of like the first memories I had of him.
Yeah, and even him recruiting me through the portal, he kind of did make that Chicago connection. He was like, do you want to come home? Your family can be at every game. You'll have a big support system. So I just remember him being, super open and super welcoming, even through the portal. Yeah.
Well, being compared to Veronica Burton and the energy and the effort and focus that she is continuing to bring to the court, what does that mean for you? And how do you glean to that understanding of what she plays like?
Yeah, I mean, it's super cool to be able to have somebody like her to look up to. I mean, since freshman year, we've been watching her now in the W, just dominating. And just the energy she plays with on the defensive end, what she brings to the table offensively. I mean, she's a really good role model to look after, and it's just super cool to watch.
When you hear a coach say, this is going to be my last year, does that give you all extra emotional leverage to play even harder? Like, you're going to play hard. You're going to compete with fire and veracity, but to know that, hey, we're going to do this one for Coach, does that charge you up on the possessions that are in front of you?
Yeah, I think you put it perfectly. Like, we are playing for him just as much as ourselves now. Not that we weren't doing that before, but there is that extra little push that we want to give as a team, and as a collective group, support staff as well. We are all in this together, and we are in this to make this the best last year for him.
Mm-hmm.
Grace, when did you find yourself seriously focusing on your mid-range game and developing that?
That's funny. We talk about this a lot. Last year, I've always had like the shot, right? Like every good basketball player has to be able to shoot from all different levels. But I think seriously coming here really brought that out of my game. I was encouraged to step off the block and step out of my comfort zone on the low block that I was in my freshman and sophomore year. And I was given the freedom in the offense to kind of, again, step outside of my comfort zone. And that's when I found the mid-range shot, and I would consider that to be my comfort zone now. So it's great.
Throughout the Big Ten Conference, obviously one of the best teams in the country that you're going to be competing against. What did you learn last year from competing in the Big Ten, and how are you going to carry what you learned into this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Big Ten is the best conference. 1 through 16, just really great players, really great teams. Definitely something we learned last year is we have to be able to play 40 minutes of a game. We had a few lapses last year, and it just shows when we can't finish games. So this year, it's a big goal of ours, just to be able to play 40 minutes.
We're actually up to 18 now, by the way. You said 1 to 16. We're actually up to 18 in this league. Right
1 through 18.
This is hilarious that my next question is, but I swear I planned this anyways. You almost went to Harvard, right?
Yeah.
Is that right? How close did you? I mean, you're both obviously very smart to go to Northwestern. You have to have incredible brain power. But how close were you to going to Harvard?
I mean, that was definitely up there on my list because of the academics, but I got to say this blew it away.
How come?
I mean, it's the combination of playing the Big Ten and the academic excellence, and also just the culture that we had here. I mean, it was like no other. Our team is so close, and when you have Coach McEwen as a coach, it really doesn't get any better.
Well, the spotlight is going to be on you guys this year as we watch you play for Joe's final year. It's going to be a blast to watch. Thank you both for being here.
Yes, thank you.